Doug Walker. You're watching The Crazy House, Crazy McCormick.
What up, y'all? Welcome to the Crazy House. I'm Crazy McCormick, back for another week of this shit. First episode, post Hallowicked, and how was it? It was fucking fantastic. Unfortunately, right now, I was supposed to look for something, and it just popped into my fucking brain. So now I need to check this out. Give me a couple of seconds, because like there was a part of this fucking segment that I was gonna talk about, and now I have no way of finding what it is that I'm looking for in such short time. But it is what it is. It's fucking whatever. So, how was everybody's week? Mine was interesting outside of Hallowicked. So, you guys, I rave a lot about what I do for a living. I'm very proud of myself for having the capability of working for myself. Okay, doing Grubhub and stuff like that. Now, with Hallowicked being this last Friday, I was a little bit worried because um, I was only going to be able to work until like 2 o'clock, and that was really going to take a lot of money out of my fucking pocket. So Friday I worked from 8:30 in the morning until 2 p.m., went home, showered, and then headed out to Detroit. All right. I had a blast at the show. Okay. And I'll get back to that. However, Saturday I was like, okay, look, I'm not going to get home until way late because normally I go to bed around midnight. I didn't get home until 3 in the fucking morning. And part of that, you'll probably find out why as soon as I actually start talking about my review with Hallowicked, the recap, everything that most of what I fucking did. Um, but Saturday, I was like, okay, under normal circumstances on Saturday, I wake up at 7 in the morning and I work until X amount of time, right? Usually like 8 o'clock. This time I ended up deciding I'm gonna sleep in a little bit. I'm gonna start work at 9 and work until 10:30. By the end of Saturday night, I ended up making over $300 in just one night on a Saturday, November 1st. So I'm like, this is strange because this is the exact opposite of what I was expecting, and yet somehow I was actually able to fucking make almost twice as much than what I was expecting. Because I was only expecting $180. And on top of that, when I left my fucking mod. So I was without my original mod, and I ended up having to break down, buy a breeze, because I didn't know when I was going to get home to be able to pick up my fucking mod, and I need my fucking synthetic nicotine. I didn't get home until like 11 o'clock at night, and not once did I have any fucking downtime. So I did not get to do anything at all with that. Oh well, it is what it is. Uh, then Sunday, tonight I ended up doing my usual thing, and I'm back on current. Now, for the last couple of months, I've been trying to save up as much money as I could for the sake of Hallowicked. But now that's changing. Originally, my plan was I was going to try to get like a certain amount of money for Big Ballas. And then after that, I was going to do the same thing for uh, Juggalo Weekend. However, I have yet to see any information about this year's Big Ballas that usually goes on in December. So I didn't see anything on Fago Lovers. There's no news on Instagram as far as I've seen. If anybody sees any news that's Juggalo worthy, that you know, just fucking DM me in Instagram or Twitter or something like that. My DMs are open. So if there might be something that I miss that you guys might want me to talk about, I'll scrub through it, see if it's worth a fuck. Because I would like to have more information than just trying to find my shit on fucking Fago Lovers. I mean, shout out to Seth Moon, my homie Cali Green Too Fresh, for providing a lot of the news on Fago Lovers. But I would like to find more outsourced information than just fucking Fago Lovers. So, with that being said, let's talk about Hallowicked. So, as I said, I worked until 2 o'clock, and then after that, I ended up fucking driving down to the D. 2-hour drive, very minimal. Obviously, you guys know because of my job, I can sit in the car for 13 fucking hours. So, driving to Detroit is light work. And the same thing can be said because of the fact that I have the capability to drive from West Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan, all the way over to places like Woosta, in the dead of fucking winter just to fucking play some video games with the fellow juggalos. So I get over there, I get there, $40 for fucking parking. You didn't, yeah, you were in the balcony? Dude, trailer park, you were there? I did not see you at all. What the fuck? Hold on a second. Hey, bro, I'm live. What's up?
Oh, yeah. What you talking about?
I'm just starting my show. I'm talking about my Hallowicked recap.
Alright, well, hit me up afterwards.
All right, we'll do. Special introduction by Bash, the dead guy, on Fuck Your Feelings. I think he might have something big to fucking talk about. Interesting how that fucking works. Trailer park pops up, and then all of a sudden Bash is calling me. What are you planning? Anyways, I know there's nothing planned. But anyways, yeah, so I bite the bullet, $40 for fucking parking. Gee whiz. Fucking ended up doing that shit. And parking last year, I parked in the exact same place that I parked last year, and it was like twice as much. I know, very professional. You know what I'm saying? I mean, basically, I look at it this way, Unnerving Brain. I am the last of the original Juggalo YouTube cast. I can do whatever I want. Anyways, so I fucking get in line, and I'm just fucking whatever, just I'm by myself. I have nobody around. I don't see anybody I recognize initially. But I fucking get in. The very first thing that I did was I hopped into the merch line. As soon as I get in, and I know. Now, here, like, interestingly enough, like, if you were there last year, you saw how bad the merch line got. There were, like, 3 times where they ended up having to rope shit off because of how many people were in line. The first time I fucking went through last year, it took me 2 hours to fucking get to the merch. Merch was in the exact same place, and since we were in the exact same building, I kind of had it all figured out. But I ended up the first people that I saw my homie Jump Shot, and I saw the homie Cartoon Bondurant. Toon and his girlfriend were dressed up like Gengars. And Jump Shot came dressed as Jump Shot. You'll have to forgive me. With me hitting this breeze, it's really fucked up my fucking voice box. This time, like, I was way closer to the merch. And on top of that, I was simultaneously talking to the guy in front of me, and we just talked about random shit. I did bring up some YouTube stuff. This motherfucker also, is like one of those dudes that's like, don't get me started on CPN. I hate that motherfucker. And I'm like, bro, if you know YouTube, then you should know he's my best friend. And he goes, oh, all right. And I just left it at that. Other than the fact to tell him, some endearing positive things about him, I mean, shit. The way I look at it, it's like, okay, look, somebody might be bad, but there's always something good about him. Like, I mean, Hitler did Jenga. You know what I'm saying? Hitler made Jenga in s'mores. I'm just saying. But you know who else drink? And if you notice, I'm drinking water. There you go. You know who else drank water? Hitler. Hey, what up, homie? So we get to the merch booth. Motherfucker. I almost said bro. And I'm trying not to fucking say that because reasons. Reasons that Trailer Park knows about, and I'm sure a couple of you other motherfuckers. But brother, with the fluoride. No, it's definitely got chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. If you've seen some of these protests, they drink a lot of that water. But anyways, yeah, so I finally get to the merch. Beautiful. Okay, they got a little sectioned off of JCW stuff. ICP t-shirts all the way at the top row. Almost two complete full rows of jerseys. And I indulged. There's a reason why I wore the hat. Because this was one of the jerseys that I felt like I needed to pick up. Now, all of them were short sleeve jerseys. They didn't have any full sleeve hockey jerseys. They were all mostly these football-esque fucking jerseys, using the same fucking hockey-esque tackle twill. But I will say this, one thing I don't like is the fucking patch in and of itself. Because of, and I'm assuming that they use these type of patches because of the way that it's designed and shit. You know, it's not stitched patching, which honestly, what that reminds me of is when you get this is actually a bootleg that my boy Kiefer from 4A2 Graphics did up for me and a bunch of homies. I paid $100 for this, and it's the exact same thing, right? Where it's only stitched on the outside. So this shit that I'm wearing as of right now is it has a bootleg feel to it. And it looks like my camera froze. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, Ouija didn't have a whole lot of merch. I am going to say that. Ouija didn't have a whole lot of merch. And then the only other thing that I saw was Al Azul Ilu. So, you know what? Okay, so Dr. Shocker wants me to time him out. I'm only timing you out for 1 minute. Okay? I'm just timing you out for 1 minute. However, I will say this. I had a $700 budget. That's all that I was able to muster, and I indulged further than I should have. So I'm going to show you guys the merch that I ended up buying, and I will be wearing these. Yeah, the back font. Yeah. So, yeah, there's the back, and I do enjoy the back. So, let's take a look at some of the other merch that I ended up picking up. I indulged on the fucking jerseys. I'm not going to front. So, I also ended up getting the Freddy Krueger fuck off, which I felt like that this was definitely the best way to fucking do Freddy Krueger if you're going to mix it with ICP. Because you can't really have him running with the fucking claw. And then you got the Hallowicked on the back. You still got the fucking Hatchet Men on the fucking sleeves. I must have been on the ramen noodle budget. I am now. So there is that one. That one is fucking dope. They also had other horror movie slasher characters. They had Chucky as one of them. I think they had Ghostface, and they also had one of the killer clowns from outer space. Then after that, they had, let's see, the Violent J-Boy, which I've been wearing this. I wore this yesterday and this morning, but then I decided to switch out into this for the show. Same fucking material for the patch, and then on the back, Hallowicked again. But this time, it has the skeleton Hatchet Man, as opposed to the ones that they had for the horror movie characters. And if I got Jay, I might as well get Shaggy Two Dope as well. Which I thought, like, I think the Shaggy Two Dope looks a lot better than the Violent J one, because it's like the melting face, you can see the brains. And then, yeah, might as well just show you in the back. Yep, same thing, Hallowicked. But I don't like. It's just like the patch designs are fresh, but the fucking stitching and all of that's just fucking stale to me. However, like, And plus, but like with this one, it's like this feels like you can see the stitching when you get real close to it. The only thing that's not like actually fucking stitching like is right here, the gray on the pants. And they also so like here's the inside out of the Freddy Krueger one. So you can see it's clearly a fucking stitch pattern. You know? Oh, trust me when I say it wasn't $700. I spent almost $900. And then I got this because I had the red one. And then it's got like, you know, just blinged out shit. Now, here's the thing. They had not just the knot, but all 12 of the Joker cards. The first deck, the second deck in its entirety, just like this. And some of them are also color coded. So, you know, like how Bang Pow Boom has the red, green, blue. So it was like all three of them mixed together, kind of like the album cover. So there's the knot in the back. And then you've got that, you know, so like you have all 12 of the fucking current existing Joker cards in that sense. Like Violet J was correct when he ended up saying that the whole thing with the Dark Carnival mythology is definitely very marketable. And especially with like being able to change up the Hatchet Man to look like various things, also a very marketable thing. Obviously. You know what I'm saying? And then the last thing that I got was the Pumpkin Hatchet Man. And then it just says ICP on the back. And I believe this is supposed to be like the Mr. Rotten Treats-esque kind of format. So that's what I ended up getting. Now, with that being said, you got to keep that shit in your back pocket because there is more to the story when it concerns my fucking merch. And I'll get to that. So the first thing I did was after I got all my merch, I went straight to Coat Check. And I ended up purchasing Coat Check for $5. I was able to stuff all that shit into a bag, and I just went on my day. First thing I did, I ended up texting a couple of, you know, one of my homies, Echo Side Fiend from Carnival Spirits. You know who he is. And, you know, because I knew he was there, and I was just trying to see where he was at. He said that he was in the pit. I had pit tickets. And so, yeah, and thank you, 89. And, like, the merch haul, like, this is something that I feel like I deserve because I have gone being fucking scrub life for a very long fucking time, broke as fuck, not able to buy this shit, and now I have an adult money, and so I have the capability to do this shit. Now, this is probably going to be the last time that I have a merch haul like this until DCG Con or the Gathering of the Juggalos. And the reason being is because now I have to crack down and be an actual adult, and the money that I would be normally saving for this type of insane, crazy fucking shit for the drip, I've got to put down on my credit cards. I really got to crack down on shit because time is limited. And, well, as much as I love my parents, I know that they want me out of the fucking basement. So, I've got to fucking crack down on that stuff. And I have a plan. And it's going to fucking work out. The universe is always in my favor. And I'll give you a prime example of why in a few. So let me go ahead and continue on with the story. Unfortunately, I missed out on what had happened because, like, I wanted to go to JCW. I really wanted to see JCW and watch them do that thing. Because, well, I talked about it last week. I talked about it, the rumors and speculations about the investor. And I ended up making a video talking about the investor. Right? And it turns out that it's fucking Vinny Roo. Vince Russo of the demolition of WCW fame, the backyard, the backstage politics and tactics that he tried to pull that really sent Jim Cornette over the edge. He is the investor, and now it turns out that his wonderful booking has allowed Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder when he was in the WWE, to become the now current JCW World Heavyweight Championship holder. So he's got the strap. The most recent episode of JCW shows a match between Matt Cardona and Too Tough Tony for the JCW title, and it turns out that Vampiro and Jay are having a beef of sorts due to the fact that long ago, and I like this long-term storytelling right here. A few months back, prior to the gathering, Madman Pondo and Mickey Knuckles were unceremoniously fired, and now Vampiro is bringing in Pondo. When I was waiting in line, I saw Madman Pondo walking to his car with his stop sign and his ball bat, and I was like, all right, bet. I kind of figured that was going to happen. Tickle in my fucking throat. I kind of figured that was going to happen. I had talked to my friend Carlos, who does a wrestling podcast on here, on YouTube, and I told him that that's exactly what I would have done. Was I would have made it so there's going to be some way that Pondo is going to come back and Mickey Knuckles is going to come back and run roughshod on JCW over the way that they fired, because I would assume that's how Russo would book it. But then again, that's how I would book it. That's interesting. Trailer Park Cinderella does have a point when 89 asks, Russo says he despises wrestling. I don't get it. Why bring in a known pariah? He's getting paid, so suddenly he's interested. That's the way it is in the game. So, at JCW Hallowicked, the main event ended up being Matt Cardona and Too Tough Tony for the JCW title again. Apparently, Zack Ryder's fucking time in WWE was able to figure out Batista's infinite rematch cheat code. Congratulations, I want my rematch. But I missed out on this, which is unfortunate. So I just did what any good boy would do and buy, $800-900 worth of fucking merchandise. And this time it only took me an hour. So then the coat check thing, right? And let me go back to full screen. So the coat check thing, and I go on my merry little way. I go outside to vape. Even though, in the pit area, everybody was vaping and smoking weed. I go outside and I'm fucking chilling and stuff like that. I talk to my friend Ivory, who's also from here. She asks me, where's Echo Side? I said, I don't know. I just got here. I haven't heard from him. I fucking go back in. And at this point, King Gordy is doing his set. Now, unfortunately, I'm very sure I missed out on some good fucking entertainment. Totally missed out on Al Azul Ulu. But apparently, there were some pictures that Al Azul Ulu ended up posting. So I gotta find that. I gotta find that fucking picture. Because it was some funny shit. Like, you guys probably saw it. It was on it. Like, there were some pictures that they posted on Instagram. Let me see what I can find. Hopefully I'll be able to find it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do... Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull out the fucking widescreen. My camera froze again. This is going to be a thing. I shit you not. As the weather gets colder, there's something that goes on with my computer that makes it so my camera freezes way more often than it should. So, okay, so aside from Matt Cardona, all right, let's take a look at this photo. I'm going to heart that because fuck it, why not? So, yeah, in the steps of, yeah, like in the back area, I guess. So here's Zool, and they have heads of Jamie and Paul. I thought that was kind of funny. There was another picture of Billy Obey, I believe it was Billy Obey, with Paul's head in the fucking fridge. I thought that was kind of funny. Now, unfortunately, I missed out on watching Alazul Ulu, but since they're free and they have no masters, I definitely guarantee you there will be other times that I will be able to check out Alazul Ulu. Now, so basically a majority of my time at Hallowicked, outside of, you know, watching shit and, you know, like trying to do the best that I could to, you know, walk around, mingle, and shit like that. I pay $180 for this. You know what I'm saying? I basically pay $180 just to fucking mingle 80% of the time that I'm at one of these events. But then again, you could possibly understand, you know, I haven't had a chance, and you know, because of the fact that I am slowly but surely getting more and more recognized at these events because of the shit that I do on here, I am going to fucking do that. And I love that. Like, I remember telling CPN a long time ago at one of the Hallowickeds when they were at the Russell, because he was getting recognized all over the place, people giving him love and shit, and I told him that right there is what I aspire to have. That's what I want. He goes, no, you don't. I beg to differ, because I don't do my shit like you do. You know, no disrespect, but I'm the nice one. Okay? Remember, I'm the nice one. So when I say that, that's what I look for, that's what I aspire to have, that's what I mean. The love and recognition that I get from people, and also now that I have a little bit more confidence in myself after working on myself for a multitude of time, I feel like that I can actually do this and I can actually start mingling with other known figures. One of which I came across while talking to Echoside and Scotty D, and I will say this, unfortunately, Tom Wood was having a conversation with Scotty D when I saw him, and I gave Scotty D a dap, but Tom Wood was busy, so I didn't get to fucking hang on his nuts. Okay? That sexy man. And I fucking missed out on the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? However, Echoside's having a conversation with Scotty D as well at the time. I'm fucking talking to them. And then I look to my right, and who do I see? Miss fucking Rotten Treats. She and I locked eyes, and I walked up to her and I was like, I see you all the time at fucking shows. You're Miss Rotten Treats. She goes, yes. I was like, I'm Crazy McCormick. I do stuff on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. You know, so we started talking about stuff. I was like, did this idea, so I asked her, did this idea come about just like out of nowhere and shit like that? And just like now, by the way, I'm trying to have a conversation with her without looking down her shirt. The entire fucking time. Like, I'm fighting the capability to not look down her fucking top. But for obvious reasons, I mean, fucking look. This is a very short, pretty fucking girl with big tits. And I'm a guy. Okay? I'm a fucking sick pig, alright? I acknowledge that. And I fucking accept it, too. But, like, nevertheless, like, she and I are fucking talking and shit like that. I was like, I know you're busy. Everyone around here is busy and shit like that. I'm not gonna, like, drag you away from your fucking crew, like, go do your thing, have fun, and all that other stuff. And I just noticed this. I didn't notice this before. But, yeah, she just ended up saying, she just looks at me. She goes, do you want a picture? I was like, fuck yeah, I do. Boom, we ended up fucking getting that selfie. And by the way, I just now noticed, taking a look at this picture, she broke the septum ring theory. Okay, she does actually have a septum ring. Did not fucking realize that as I was having a conversation with her because I was too fucking preoccupied. She is pretty. She is very fucking beautiful. Like, nevertheless. But like I've walked, but like there were so many other fucking people that I bumped into. Once again, bumped into King B, double fisted with fucking Bruja. Yeah, I know. I need to fucking get this off of my screen so that way I'm not fucking distracted. Titties. I'm sorry, but not sorry at the same time. Sorry. Don't mean to interrupt everybody's fucking goon sesh there. Unless you're still gooning to me, which that wouldn't be shocking at all. But anyways, so I fucking continue walking around and, doing my thing, bumping into homies, bumping into fucking people, and one guy, I'm fucking having a conversation with, I think it was Echo Side, and we're like talking about whatever. I think we were talking about Vince Russo and shit. One guy turns around and he goes, "You're Crazy McCormick, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." He goes, "I'm Butch. I watch your shit. I don't fucking get in the live chat. I usually watch your shit after you go live." I was like, "Dude, it doesn't matter if you watch it live or in post. It doesn't matter. I appreciate the love nevertheless." See, that's the thing. I give love. I'm going to give love to these motherfuckers. And he was such a nice guy. He was very curious and courteous and respectful. Not curious. Maybe he was. I don't know. But but anyways, yeah. So like, I thought that was cool. Like that's the one thing that I love about doing this type of stuff is that people who watch my shit, and I'm gonna give them respect on that shit. You know what I'm saying? But he was courteous. He was respectful, and I dig that. And that should be how it is for everybody. If you come across like me or Humble or Bash or Bartle Boss or anybody else, like that's all that I suggest is just like be courteous, be respectful, and some of us, we'll break down, we'll have a conversation, we will break shit down. You know what I'm saying? I know people love me, but I do know that there are a lot of people who dislike me, and I don't care. See, when I watch this stuff, I feel kind of connected to the old golden days, chilling with the homies, rolling with my homies. Yeah, that's another thing too. Like I've been really trying to work on my fucking singing voice. I'm starting to get my fry scream back. I'm happy about that. I finally figured out how to get that back. Now I just need to get my guttural back and my mid. But anyways, yeah. So so like I'm bumping into all sorts of characters and stuff like that. I think one of the coolest fucking things though was I was out vaping at one point. I think it was like Ouija was doing his fucking set, and I was like, I'm good. I've seen Ouija enough times to see that. You've seen one Ouija show, you've kind of seen them all. It's almost as if the set changes, and that's almost it. No disrespect to Ouija because I know the man can hold a crowd. I want to see Darby more often. That's just me though, because Darby is the homie. Seeing Bald Ouija in person is cursed. And that makes sense for TPC to fucking say that. Considering his time, excuse me, considering TPC's time with Thugalo's show and Toxic Plague Entertainment, he shows and still does show a lot of love for Ouija Mac and Chapter 17. So he has been there to watch the metamorphosis of Ouija's fucking crown piece. And yeah, seeing Ouija with no hair is kind of creepy. It's like you're looking at, it's almost as if you're looking at the Mona Lisa after it's been fucking defaced, you know? Like somebody fucking took the Mona Lisa, sent it to ChatGPT and said, "Make her have bigger titties." It's weird. Aura's negative 1700. Oh my god. Fucking Trailer Park fucking taking the Aura farm away from Ouija Mac. But you know what's funny is like I talked to some other ninjas about Bald Ouija, and a lot of them have said it's weird as fuck because he's been going through this constant metamorphosis ever since he met this chick Alexis. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, but here's the thing. I kind of understand the idea of a shotgun relationship because they were, what, 3 weeks in and he was already engaged, right? Tattooing her name above his fucking eye, which is interesting because she didn't put his government name above her eye. It's Ouija above her eye, but her government name is above Ouija's fucking eyebrow. That's kind of interesting, don't you think? So it really shows who's actually fucking doing what. And it seems like, okay, is this Ouija's first real fucking relationship? Is he just yes-manning to everything that this chick is doing? That's the question that a lot of people have been fucking going with because it's like he went through this huge metamorphosis ever since he met this chick. He's no longer fucking vegan. He's got that fucking tattoo. They were engaged within 3 weeks of the fucking relationship. As somebody who has been in that unhealthy path, Ouija, this is unhealthy. I'm just putting that out to you. I honestly hope that it lasts longer than it did with me because I got 5 years and 2 kids under that fucking belt. But hey, if it's for you, it's for you. I'm not going to judge. That doesn't mean that I look at Ouija any differently. Now back to what I was saying. I'm outside vaping at one point, mingling with folks. I see Wacko the Kid. So I'm like, fuck it. I walk up to Wacko and I reminded him, hey, you know that interview that you did with Seth Moon? He's thinking about it. He goes, yeah. I said, I just wanted to tell you, I really appreciate what you said. Because of the fact that, you know, yes, we all start from scrub life and shit, but that doesn't mean that you have to fucking stay a scrub. Because if that's the case, then everybody would be the boy blue. And he's like, I agree. You know, like, I don't know if he knew who Boy Blue was, but just because of the fact that I'm a YouTuber, and he got interviewed by Seth Moon, who on YouTube is known as Cali Green 2 Fresh, or back in the day he was. I think he just dropped the whole fucking gimmick, and he's just going by his own name. And you know, like, he and I are fucking talking about that shit. But I still love the idea behind what it is that he's fucking doing. I can respect that. I mean, take a look. What I'm fucking talking about here. Like, I did not have the capability to fucking get into the jersey game for the longest fucking time. They started selling jerseys, what, around fucking 99? Okay? So there are a lot of fucking jerseys that I missed out on. And I really didn't start getting into the fucking jersey game until like the last couple of years, which I love my hockey jerseys, and I'm starting to fucking get into these jerseys as well. But like that's, but there's that. And then for myself, not just the jersey game when it concerns the fucking hatchet gear, but also my hobby, my wonderful pastime of playing video games. And I have a collection that is valued over $30,000. To me, that is fucking high praise. That is up high tier shit. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, like, there was some dude that fucking approached Wacko and asked him about Airheads, and he got his boy to fucking come over and sell him a few. And it was like, dude, that's another thing too. Like, I can't fucking hate on that game. Like, I don't smoke, but I fucking appreciate the game. And I've been hearing a lot of positive things about the shit that you sell. Oh, trust, I do not have a collection close to what AVGN has. Hell, fucking Pat the NES punk, not only does he have a complete NES collection, but he also has a complete TurboGrafx 16 collection. My goal is not even to complete it, but it is to get very close. Like, I'm trying to gather as much as I can. I'm going to be gaming the rest of my life, even when I've only got 3 fingers that are working. Now, I told him, and I do feel this with my heart of hearts, that yes, you could start off scrub, but not all juggalos do. There are some there are juggalos among all walks of life. But what I feel like is that being a juggalo should mean being better than you were the day before. And it's pretty much about that blue collar shit. And homie Wacko is doing that DIY shit. And I get what he's fucking getting at with it. And I was like, your history with fucking B.O.B. as you explained, like, I fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? So, I feel like that went somewhere. Now, at some point, Trick ended up fucking being up on there, and I walked halfway into it, found Echo's side, and we're fucking kicking it watching Trick. I think Trick actually did close the deal on the beef with ICP and Eminem. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's in reference to an older fucking video that I did. Based on some pure speculation. But, I honestly, I thought, like, I never really got into Trick. But watching that show, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to understand why some hip-hop artists have been fucking adding a band and shit like that, and I fuck with that. Gaming with your eye movements on some Stephen Hawkins level shit. Why do I keep on flipping between the breeze and the mod? I don't know. I need to lay off the breeze. But a strawberry banana. Anyways, eventually, ICP fucking hits the stage, right? Zool are just Bedlam merchants. Oh, man. Dude, I gotta tell Madness about that one. Which, by the way, I did get into touch with Madness. Now that I'm thinking about it. I'll get into that later, though, because, like, there is one little piece of info that I've got to fucking put out about him that I forgot to add up. And there was another thing that I was going to do and I forgot. Basically, I'll put it to you this way. Tonight's episode was a fucking rush job. And there are some things that just kind of just overshot my mind. But anyways, yeah, so Zool's stage set is built for bowling alleys. They had no idea what to do with that big-ass stage. Now, apparently, like, Echo Side ended up telling me during ICP stage set that the Masonic Temple Theater is the largest stage in the state of Michigan. for concerts and performances in a hall of that magnitude. And I'm like, all right, bet. I don't care if they paid to play Hallowicked. What they're doing is a big fuck you to Twisted, and I support that. And that was actually something else that I ended up talking to somebody about, was like, I don't care, and I'm going to say this again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I really don't care if people listen to fucking Twisted. Yeah, it was actually the kid that I was talking to in line. I was like, you can listen to Twisted, I could care less. But the reality is that I expect you guys to understand that I no longer support Twisted. If you talk shit about that shit, well, fuck you. Okay? I'm going to hurt your fucking feelings. And you can, and I have proof that I can when I fucking make a video towards somebody for misconstruing something that I said on a podcast, and then they disappear for 3 fucking weeks and act like nothing happened when they came back. I still remember, and I'm sure you do too. Just putting that out there. Now, back to Hallowicked. Violent J ended up saying in the Detroit Free Press that he was confident that this year's costume was going to beat last year's costume. This year's stage set was going to beat last year's stage set. I'm sorry, but no. No, it did not. It was fresh, but it did not beat last year's. 100%. So for the people who did not go to Hallowicked, and the people who did not watch the pay-per-view on Veeps, the fucking shit comes up. SpongeBob SquarePants. They got, so they got the setup looking like Bikini Bottom. You've got the Pineapple House. You've got Patrick Starr's fucking little rock. And then DJ Clay dressed had his fucking turntable table looking like Squidward's fucking face thing. Right? But it wasn't all the way. And then you've got the fucking Fago bins that also looked like that. So it was almost as if Squidward's house was broken down into 4 separate pieces. Last year's, and then on top of that, their costumes. Violent J was dressed up with a Patrick t-shirt and matching shorts. His face paint was pink and black. Shaggy was SpongeBob with a SpongeBob shirt, brownish, grayish, green, it was like green, all right? The brown pants. He even had the fucking socks, which I thought was dope. Brown shoes, probably. And then DJ Clay was wearing a Squidward shirt. And I was like, okay, bet. This was fucking dope. But the costume does not beat last year's costume. I was not in any rush to fucking text anybody and say, bro, you've got to get in here. Well, except for one person, but they weren't there. And they're also ghost at this point. The most my girlfriend is a millennial stage theme, right? That I can agree with. However, last year's costume and stage set was the most epic fucking stage set I could ever fucking see. I jizzed a little at the 2024 stage set because last year's stage set was Super Mario Brothers. The Fago bins looked like fucking warp pipes. There were question blocks, bricks, clouds, and fucking coins hanging from the rafters. You had the hills. You had the background. It all looked like Super fucking Mario Brothers. Violent J dressed up as Mario. Shaggy dressed up as Luigi. Mikey Clark on the turntables, I believe, dressed as Koopa. And then from my vantage point, I was able to see Renee and fucking Sarah Rusi off stage, and Sarah Rusi was dressed up like Princess Peach, and Renee was not dressed up at all. However, I will say this, and for the people in the fucking chat that was at Hallowicked, and for the people who saw it on fucking on pay-per-view, show me some fucking diamonds in the chat if you thought Renee was looking banging this year. Because Renee and their little girl fucking hopped up on stage, and they were also dumping Faygo into the crowd. DJ Kreyz kid was also on stage throwing Faygo. That kid, even though his fucking shit, he doesn't know how to fucking hold it right to launch, but he could still fucking launch. Like, he was holding the 2-liter like this, and then he would push it, and it would just fucking launch. Like, he found a separate way outside of how Jay and Shaggy do their shit when they launch their shit into the crowd. And this kid could this kid had some distance to his fucking to his launching. And I thought it was fresh as hell. Shaggy and Renee's little girl, on the other hand, she just like opened it up and was just like, you know what I'm saying? But like, Renee coming out painted up like Shaggy, wearing that fucking half jersey, showing the midriff. Oh my fucking God. Like, look, I'm not Lucha Lele? Yeah. You know who I'm talking about. Thank you. But like, bro, Shaggy, you lucky son of a bitch. That's all I can fucking say. You lucky motherfucker. Holy shit. Shaggy 2 Dope hits that on the regular. And that is phenomenal. She's a very beautiful woman. But seeing her fucking dressed like that, god damn. I'm not gooning to her. I can appreciate the beauty of a woman without having to fucking goon to her, but Jesus Christ. I'm hawking, but I know my fucking place. I'm just saying. I know my fucking place in this fucking in this juggalo hierarchy. So the stage set, honestly, like, it's weird because like nowadays when you watch ICP, it's still a very similar show. There are some songs that they will take out and replace, and you know, like, but I've noticed that, and I'm sure that a lot of other people have noticed this too, but it seems like ICP does not ever venture into the second deck when they do these sets. And if they do, it's incredibly sparing. You would think that at some point they would fucking, you know, they just came out with the Knot. I would think that that would have some place, like one song from the Knot would have some place in the stage set. Nope. And yes, I agree with Wes. Goblin on stage is always fun to listen to. I love the fact that they keep bringing out Goblin for Hallowicked. Right? Sleepwalker's another good one, but to my surprise, they didn't do it. But like nowadays, it's like, okay, now because of how many Hallowickeds have been out, there's 21 of them now. You know, their first one was in 1994. And so their first single is how they open up a Hallowicked show. Now, also, the single for this year's Hallowicked, Dead Bodies, I'll put it to you this way. It's on all your social medias. You could get a physical copy if you went to Hallowicked. I don't like it. It just feels off to me. I even fucking played it on loop all fucking day while I was working, all the way to Detroit. And it's like I can't seem to fucking find anything about it that I like. Now, I could give a shit less about the AI cover. If anything, it's like I think there's too many fucking people that are just hating on the AI. But you also got to take a look at something else. Psychopathic Records has severely stripped down, right? It's like they're not outsourcing like they used to. They no longer have their fucking their shit like they had no longer have their office, they no longer have their warehouse. Their crew isn't as big as it used to be. ICP has made Psychopathic Records strip down to the bare bones. And in some cases, I can say that it's now become a victim of the times. In a sense, ICP is kind of like trying to do what they can to stay with the times. And one of those big things is AI. Even though, like, because, like, at least with AI, they can get something that's something without having to fucking pay for shit. And it's like, what would you, like, I don't know if we have a Tom Dubb artwork of the Knot yet. I haven't really focused on that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure that there has to be one if, soon, if not coming up. So there is that. But like I feel like that there's a lot of people who are hating on the shit. And it's like you got to remember some things. Okay, when they first started, it was just 5 of them. And Shaggy was doing all the artwork. And then, the peak of Psychopathic was when they still had shit like, you know what I'm saying? Like they had Twisted, they had Blaze, they had ABK, they were doing Dark Lotus, Psychopathic Riders. That era, it's a time gone by. And even Seth Moon has pointed that out. If you go on Fago Lovers, there is an article that Seth Moon did, which I feel like is way different than a lot of the other stuff where it's just like, oh, hey, here's some news that dropped. Seth Moon ended up fucking putting out this one-piece article on Fago Lovers that I thought was really dope. Basically explaining that, yes, ICP has brought Psychopathic Records completely down to the bare bones, and they're not really signing anybody anymore. Instead, they're doing deals with other labels. Like Ouija, he does Chapter 17. Ouija's got DJ Chunk and fucking Darby O'Trill as signed artists. But doing what ICP wanted to do with Magic Ninja Entertainment, which was to put the fucking Hatchet Man on the label. It's no longer a fucking label at this point. It's an exclusivity club. And Jamie and Paul didn't want to fucking do it, so fuck them. But you've got Chapter 17, right? Who are doing their fucking thing. Actually, I'm going to fucking go ahead and open up that thing. Because I thought that this was rather fucking cool. So it's the State of the Hatchet. That's the name of it. So basically it explains, okay, you've got ICP, who is the nucleus of Psychopathic Records. They're the ones that fucking brought out this subculture. Ouija Mac was signed, but then and then you've got DJ Clay, you got Wacko the Kid, but then you also have and in Airheads We Trust is coming out on Psychopathic. But then you also have the producers Devereaux, Shaggy the Airhead, Kuma, and Mikey Clark. And these are basically like those those artists, affiliates, producers. But then you also have the affiliates, which Chapter 17, which is Ouija, Darby, and DJ Chunk. AR Entertainment, which is DJ Clay's label. The current roster is DJ Clay, Tier Diaz, and Bales. You got Airheads / Wacko Exotics, which is the cannabis brand You got Lazy and Crazy, which is Shaggy the Airhead's fucking shit. You got Kuma Cuts. You got Swamp Society, which is co-founded by Devereaux and Darby, but it also has Acetone and Frankie Goldie. So you've got all of these other things. Like, what Psychopathic is doing now is they're doing a cosign thing. Where it's like, okay, these are the fucking folks that we fucking co-sign with. And then I guess another thing is, I guess you could say another one might possibly be fucking Humble Among, because Humble Among does talk a lot about how he has Jay's personal phone number, and he's able to call him up on a whim. Hello, check, mic check, syphilis, one check, two check. All right, testes, 1, 2, 3, got it. All right, so all sorts of technical difficulties up in this bitch. So, like, like I was saying, because like Humble Among, he's possibly one of those ones because like he's got Jay's personal phone number. Jay can fucking go ahead and tell him shit that comes out before it comes out so he can have the fucking news and all this other shit before anybody else does. Purely speculation. So, like that, I guess you could say he's got that fucking in. Okay, that's cool. But it's like, okay, that's how Psychopathic is now doing their thing. And I'm fine with that, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that it's like, okay, that's something that now M&E should have probably fucking done that. Because like because that was something that Jay talked about when they were fucking doing that shit. Like in a way, it's basically a brand change. Like how they're fucking doing their business. But with that said, it's like, okay, you've got it, them using AI for shit. Because AI pays, you pay less for AI than you would having Tom Dub just like do a fucking redo of the shit. And don't get me wrong, I love Tom Dub's fucking artwork. Or not Tom Dub, Tom Wood, my bad. Fuck Tom Dub. Lion sack of shit. Yeah, I know. Like, that's the funny thing, Trailer Park. Nevertheless, you got Tom Wood doing, like, you got Tom Wood art and shit like that, but Tom Wood art you got to pay a lot more for Tom Wood art than you do for fucking AI. So it's like, okay, bare bones, Psychopathic, not necessarily failing, but they are trying to do what they can to keep the boat afloat. And then the same thing with the fucking merch. Like, I'm not too happy. Like, I feel like buying these jerseys, they've always been $150, right? Due to inflation and all that other shit, like, you would expect that the jerseys, if they were to be the same type of shit, the same type of material, the same way that they do their fucking, like their patches and shit, you would think that they would be good quality. Well, if they're trying to keep the prices at $150 for fucking jerseys, then I guess you're gonna have to fucking downgrade like the quality of these, because these feel like, man, they would probably like, not only would these shirts feel like, not only do these jerseys feel like they could disintegrate in the washer, but they would probably disintegrate even if you tried to fucking take it to the cleaners. I don't think it was even just the money for artwork as much as it was just not planning ahead. And I agree in a sense, listening to the Knot, like, a lot of people say that by listening to the Knot, they feel like that it was rushed. A lot of people say that going to the Knot was rushed. So I would probably say that, I had fun at Hallowicked. Not gonna lie, I thought Hallowicked was dope. Definitely gonna be going next year, even if it's at the Masonic Temple Theater. And of course, the highlight was staring at these jugs. Like that was literally the biggest highlight of the fucking night. That. Those are the two reasons why that was the fucking best highlight of the night. God, I'm a pervert. All right, let's talk about some news and shit like that. First off, I gotta say this: Damian Quinn coming out with a 20th annual Bury the Living show. So the show is going to be set at November 29th at Foley's Bar and Grill in Lake Geneva. I think that's Wisconsin. So I thought that this was cool. Scum, Damien of Dark Half, Bloody Ruckus, Green Jello, Razor, and Rozakel for some fucking reason. Hey, don't diss on Miss Rotten Treat. She's actually a sweetheart. I don't give a fuck. She's fucking sweet. And to my surprise, I really didn't see a whole lot of fucking juggalettes that are in the big circles and shit. However, after Hallowicked, I did see on TikTok there were a lot of chicks that were like fucking playing Boogie Woogie Woo and showing off their outfits and saying that they were gonna be at fucking Hallowicked. And there were some Hallowicked shows that like there were some songs that were played at Hallowicked. Man, all the TikTok bitches in the balcony screaming their asses off and shit. Like Boogie Woogie Woo obviously was one of them. It's like all of the old LimeWire pop songs from ICP's shit that they were doing at that event. Boom. Like the bitches fucking killed it. So yeah, it looks like there's gonna be Yep, there's also quite a few people up in this bitch. NGS and Force 5 Records. But you also got Bane, Native Thug, Girl Fight, Mo Foley, Raven De La Vega, Threality, Lilith the Sinful, Noms, Psychotic, LA Perp. I think I've seen LA Perp. HP the Grizzly, which I have been like not necessarily been like constantly talking to her, but like if I see HP the Grizzly at shows, I get a big hug. Like she's such a sweetheart. I like HP the Grizzly. Smokey the Bear and Ill Anois. However the hell you fucking pronounce that last one. All at the 20th annual Bury the Living show. So, I'm not a huge fucking fan of Damian Quinn. It's like I don't fuck with him like that. I never really listened to Damian Quinn. But I can respect that shit because, cult shit. So yeah, this is going to be in Wisconsin. In Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So if you're in that area, fucking check that out. Mainly I would go because of Scum and Green Jello, and I don't know where Rozakel would sit, but that's definitely worthy piss break. And it's like, I debated on whether or not I wanted to hold on to this because of the fact that Rozakel's on here, and you guys know I don't like Rozakel. Like, fuck that bitch. And I know that Dark Half has its fucking fans. It's just like, the thing though about it is like, Dark Half and Geno Cult shit is like one of those things where it's like, I didn't fuck with a lot of underground juggalo shit outside of Psychopathic during my early days. There was very few things. Like I fucking listened to a lot of Q Strange, but now I listen to it and I'm like, man, this is so fucking cringe. But hell. Another thing that was announced too is Juggalo Ohio. So this is way ahead, but Juggalo Ohio 4 going to be at the King of Clubs in Columbus, Ohio. Mark your calendars for this. March 27th and 28th of next year. This is all that they're showing. This is it. And it's a recent picture because you can see Alexis's name right here. But don't get me wrong. I do fucking respect the cult shit. And I'm also trying to fucking gain a friendship with Scum. For no fucking reason whatsoever other than to say, hey, I've got a fucking friendship with Scum. Scum is the nicest, scary looking motherfucker on the planet. And let's not forget the fact that he's fucking Russian. But, you know, he's American now, so that probably attributes to why he's such a scary looking motherfucker. But he's such a fucking teddy bear in real life. A very nice guy, and he's always open to have conversation with motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? I can respect that, and I really like Scum. I think Scum's a nice guy. Those are the only two things that have been posted on Figure Lovers that I actually thought was worth a fuck. But we got to get into some other shit too. So, like, I talked about this before. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. I had to fucking tell you about the back pocket. So remember all that shit that I said about my fucking merch and all that other shit? Here's the other thing that I totally fucking forgot about. Alright? The fucking hell. Goddamn internet, how does that work? Hold on a second, I gotta double check this. Okay, that still works. Awesome. So, okay, let me talk to you about the aftermath of Hallowicked. Alright? So, I was fucking so preoccupied with everything else that had been going on, with talking to fans, talking to ninjas, bumping into fucking people, talking to Wacko, watching Trick and fucking ICP perform, and shit like that. I'm hanging out with Echo Side. I totally forgot that my shit was in coat check until I stepped outside. So I tried to go back inside so I could grab my stuff. Bouncer fucking stops me as I'm trying to walk, and he says, hey, no re-entry. I said, I just need to get my stuff out of coat check. Dude says no re-entry. I'm like, please, dude, seriously. I understand your job and everything, but I just spent like $900 in merch. He fucking walks to the door, opens it up, giving me a fucking mean look. He's not coming after me or anything like that, but he's angrily fucking looking at me, and it's like, okay, look, I'm in Detroit, and I'm me. Motherfucker! Ah! Seth Moon with that $2 super chat. Whoop whoop. And whoop whoop back to you, homie. Much love to you. Everybody give Seth Moon a like. I did not. You just haven't been paying attention, Wes. You're just used to it now. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm in Detroit, I'm me, and this dude looks mad. If I don't fucking start walking towards the door, I am going to possibly get my ass kicked. So I fucking walk to the door and I'm like, is there anything I can do to get my fucking merch? He says, go outside, no re-entry. So I literally stand outside at the fucking doorway. Like, the door is right here, and I'm standing just enough to be outside. The dude finally starts fucking having everything register in his head. I'm not trying to fuck with him. I'm not trying to swindle him. I'm not trying to disobey the rules. I just want my shit. Because I spent almost $900 on merchandise for this show that happens once a year. And he finally fucking calms down once he gets back to his spot. And he says, after I'm done with this, I'll see if I can let you in to get your stuff. If not, I'll grab it myself. You still have your ticket, right? And I said, yes. So I was like, okay, that's kind of a reprieve. Because I'm not trusting this dude at all. After the way that he treated me and was not giving me any fucking respect, I do not trust that this dude would do that at all. I'm assuming that this motherfucker will push me out of the way and slam the door shut once his job is done. But I ended up talking to him, and I was like, I understand you got to do your job. I really do. But at the same time, it's like, I spent a lot of money at this show. And he's like, I appreciate you, brother, you know, blah, blah, blah. He gives me a handshake. And then all of a sudden, there's some chick that fucking falls backwards on the fucking steps behind me. He runs around me and helps her back up and asks if she's okay. She's like, I'm fine. She's fucked up. She's probably feeling it right now because think about landing on your spine on 2 stairs, right? Her back is probably hurting now. I did show the haul at the very beginning of the show. So, Wes, you'll probably have to watch it in post or rewind it real quick. But I'm going to continue my story. I'm looking at the crowd, hoping to God that I find somebody. The homie Hack Benjamin fucking pops up. Not Jump Steady dressed as Hack Benjamin, but the homie Hack that has the Jug of Silva. So I say, Hack, come here for a second. Hack comes up. I explain to him the situation. And I was like, can you please go to coat check and grab my shit? He says, dude, that line is long as fuck. I was like, I know, but it's like $900 in merch. So he understood right off the rip. No questions. I give him my fucking ticket. I was like, here you go. I'll meet you at the door. So I'm standing there and I'm kind of fucking talking to the bouncer, right? He's still doing his job and all that other stuff. Not trying to distract him or anything like that. But after about 20 minutes, his shit's done with. I'm standing out in the fucking cold, in the same spot, like right at the fucking door. He sees the other security people, and he ends up telling them, hey, this guy forgot his merch, and they're just, and the security team ends up saying, we're ushering out the last people at coat check. So he tells me, meet up with whoever at the fucking door. I'm thinking to myself, are they going to let me in? I'm fucking freaking out at this moment because it's like, okay, this is the worst thought that I could have possibly gone through. And I'm like, I'm trusting that this is going to work out in my favor. I go down the steps. I go around to the next stairway where they're letting people out. And as soon as I get there, I see Hack Benjamin with my stuff. I grab my stuff. I give Hack a big hug and a big thank you. And he says, just remember, you owe me. Not a problem. Not a problem whatsoever. If I can spend $900 for some merch, having Hack Benjamin do this for me, I am so fucking grateful that he hooked a brother up. Like, swear to God, this is the universe at work. All right. If this isn't divine planning at its finest, I don't know what is. The universe is in my favor on this one. I just had to trust the process. But it's hard to trust that process when you've got an angry bouncer looking like he's going to beat the fuck out of me if I don't leave over $900 in merch. So I would say maybe, just maybe, that would make it so this is the second best thing that fucking happened at the Gathering of the Jug, at Hallowicked, my bad. This is the second best thing. And the third best thing. And then the first thing is that whole fucking thing about my haul. Which you obviously saw. That's the wrong one. What the fuck? Wrong channel. So, the next time I see Hack Benjamin, I'm definitely going to hook a thug up. But we got to talk about some other stupid shit. And I mentioned this already before. And that is that Vinny Rue is officially the fucking writer of Juggalo Championship Wrestling. Here, let me show this one. It's wider. So, Cultaholic Wrestling posted, following speculation over the weekend that he had joined the NWA, Vince Russo has given me snake aids just by reading this. Vince Russo has revealed he is actually working for Juggalo Championship Wrestling. Russo had said he is an investor of the Insane Clown Posse-owned promotion, and he noted on Bro Down, his dumbass podcast, I'm pretty sure, that he has written 9 episodes of TV already. Now, some of you guys, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of you have already seen the video that I posted here on YouTube about this. And the way I look at it, in all honesty, I feel like I'm justified in my reasonings for being scared shitless about what this could possibly do to JCW. Because Vince Russo does have a history of weaseling his way into a company, becoming the head writer of that promotion, inserting himself as a main character, and kind of stinking up the product. I genuinely don't trust this dude because, for most wrestling, I am somewhat of a traditionalist. And in a sense, JCW is far removed from traditional wrestling. Sure, there is some traditional wrestling in JCW, but most of the stuff that they do is very based on ECW, XPW, shit like that. Plus, there are really no rules in JCW when it concerns storyline writing. For God's sakes, we have a guy who is a top performer in that promotion whose gimmick is if Kane was high on coke all the fucking time. The homie Cocaine. We have had a dead body as the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion, Evil Dead, on Bloody Mania, we had a tag team that is owned by a fucking ringmaster that consists of zombies who fought a guy who thinks he's fucking Frankenstein's monster. And some other homo from fucking Game Changer Wrestling. So basically, after thinking about it, there are certain things that Vince Russo might possibly be able to do with the storyline writing of his caliber that could possibly work in JCW. He already brought up the thing that introduced him as the head writer and investor of JCW, in which Stephen Flo had a concussion and Big Vito beat the shit out of him despite having a concussion, which is something that he already told Dave Meltzer, Uncle Dave, about. And even Uncle Dave is kind of just like, I don't know what the fuck. You know what I'm saying? So, let's see. Didn't I have a fucking video clip of Dave Meltzer? I thought I did, but I don't. It looks like I don't. But, and this was one of the things that really I thought was going to be the important thing, was to get Dave Meltzer to start talking about JCW, in which, yes, he is in fact now talking about JCW. There's a lot of these people that are talking about JCW. And I think having Vince Russo in JCW is the reason. Because this dude, yes, somebody ended up saying it before, Vince Russo is practically a fucking pariah in the industry. And so for somebody to actually give Vince Russo a chance after 15 fucking years of him being in the dark and now saying that he hates professional wrestling, of all people, Insane Clown Posse decides to give him a fucking chance. But there's also two other things that are being added in that he's already leaked as storylines. One of them involves drug testing, which I assume would work best with cocaine. So, like, in a sense, it's like, okay, Vinny Roo here is kind of trying to play as the antagonistic protagonist. Where he's like trying to be like, oh, this is the best for JCW, right? Is to protect a guy who has a concussion. Which kind of falls back to some shit that involved Chris Benoit, right? Then you've got the drug testing thing, which also happened because of Chris Benoit. And then you've got cocaine, who's a prominent figure who does cocaine in his shit. And he kind of needs cocaine in order to fucking do the gimmick. But if he's drug tested and tests positive for cocaine, then that fucking makes him turn into a jobber. And Vince Russo would just basically be like, bro, it is for the best of the future of JCW. When this motherfucker really can't even pronounce Cauliflower Alley Club correctly. I'm just saying that. But then there's also another storyline that's going to be involved that has one of the female wrestlers involved in the Me Too movement, in which I think the Me Too movement is years far fucking removed. So it's like, okay, he's been sitting on a lot of this fucking shit for a while. No one fucking Me Too's. They just fucking get canceled. There's no, like, when was the last time you heard anything about the Me Too movement? But, like, apparently Bro has fucking written 9 episodes of JCW already. He's already introduced himself as a figurehead. So I'm sure that the whole investor thing is him as, like, you know, the old commissioner gimmick. Now, what makes it interesting, too, is, and I figured this motherfucker... Actually, let me say that properly. This motherfucker has actually gotten the attention of the one and only Jim Cornette.
As I'm sure you're very aware, a lot of the listeners have been sending in emails, Cult of Cornette posts, tweets, everything about a topic before we get to modern wrestling reviews, whatever there is of that today. Word came out over the weekend that allegedly, and I'm not up to date on everything, I've seen some video just recently, but apparently Vince Russo, the word was that he was going to be the booker for the NWA.
Booker. I'm not a booker. I'm a writer. Whatever, bro.
Which...
Yeah, I mean, like, no one's ever fucking used the term investor, but it's like the same thing as, like, general manager, commissioner, wrestling czar, you know, like, investor's just basically the same fucking authoritarian gimmick.
It seemed to be surprising news, and then a day or so later, it came out that that isn't the case. He is apparently, allegedly, who knows what's at work and what isn't anymore, the new booker and investor in the Insane Clown Posse's wrestling promotion.
Like, for Corny, this is a match made in hell. Because you know for a fact he hates ICP, he hates us, but not as much as he hates Vince Russo. And now, Corny's fucking absolute night terror has happened. And it's in wrestling, which makes it even fucking worse.
What do you know? What do you say?
Well, first of all, if I was Billy Corgan, I believe I'd sue Dave Meltzer for slander.
God, I love Cornette.
It's like
Is that where it came from? It came from Meltzer?
Apparently.
Yeah, Uncle Dave was
because
fucking interviewing
and
Vinny
see,
Roo
once
about
again, this blows up to be a big story, but what is the old saying that it's the sum is greater than the whole of the parts or whatever the fuck? There's a lot of people here involved who have been doing shit that nobody knew was going on. And like apparently the Insane Clown Posse have a wrestling promotion that does a television, does a TV show, but can it be a TV show if it's not on TV?
I mean, technically, it's not a TV show. It's a program. You know, you could just call it that. To this day, Cornette doesn't realize that ICP were trained and did actually respect the business. Yeah, but like, you know, he's hearing from other, you know, he's heard from other wrestlers from his era, like outlaw mud show bullshit, you know, like, and you know, like that's how they fucking painted JCW as, and obviously Corny doesn't like outlaw mud show bullshit. Like Cornette is used to arena wrestling, you know. Ric Flair was revealed to be an investor who helped Shane buy WCW during the whole invasion angle. Well, yeah. But that was like, you know, that was basically a gimmick, and that also allowed it so that way he became general manager of Raw.
But they do a show.
Do they? Is it a current show that already exists? I've never seen or heard about it. I know they have a promotion that runs like a show a year, I thought, but...
No, I mean, because the clip that is going around that we'll get to in a minute, that's from their show, and apparently they've been doing a show somewhere that is seen somewhere. So that's number one thing. And then number two, nobody's been paying attention to our friend Vinny Roo anymore.
Which is true. I mean, yeah, like, I never fucking thought about Vince Russo until this week.
And so he wants to drum up some publicity.
Of course.
And then,
bro,
Uncle Dave apparently got fed some kind of half-assed partial information and was assuming, or say, and when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. He apparently blurted out on one of his shows, well, if it's like the NWA, well, nobody's watching the NWA anyway, which is true also.
Which is unfortunate because, like, I love and respect NWA. But also, like, NWA did get a little attention with the Juggalos and shit because after Jay and Too Tough Tony and Madman Pondo went to Japan, they also jumped over to NWA and gave, you know, Billy Corgan gave them some love. You know, and that, like, and basically, if you really think about it, like, the Japanese tour and the NWA spots really was, like, homework, I think, for Jay, to figure out what could he do and implement in order to help grow JCW. Because let's face it, after this tour that they're doing in the U.S., they do a UK tour, they do an Australian tour, and then after that, ICP is fucking done touring. They're only going to be doing the big shows and a couple of fucking festival spots here and there. So this has got to be something that's going to be drawing Jay's attention, aside from making the last 5 Joker cards.
The NWA still does a show somewhere that airs somehow. But that combination of Uncle Dave saying that about shit stain and being, it was enough. There was some recognition at the NWA, because also then there's you put Russo and NWA together, and then there's the sacrilegiousness and the blasphemy of the worst, you know, fornicator and sinner ever against the wrestling business, being elected to the, you know, the Vatican and popedom of the last bastion of wrestling credibility, the NWA, in people's minds. And that was just something that got people going.
See, I think that it's a wiser decision. Now, looking back at it, I think that it's a wiser decision for Vince Russo to filter into JCW than it would be for NWA. Because NWA, at the very least, is a very traditionalist program and organization. NWA held the entire fucking territory. You know, like the whole territory rig. And that was before WWE burned that to the fucking ground. Now NWA is just another fucking low tier fucking wrestling organization. Just like JCW. But the difference is, though, is like, okay, it still has its prestige that fucking dates all the way back to 1908. JCW has its prestige-ish that fucking started in 1999 or something like that. 1997, Hellfire Wrestling, you know. But Jay and Shaggy, though, you know, like they've been wrestlers since they were like 11 and shit.
But when everybody settled down, damn it.
Corny is having a corniary. Haha, you see what I did there? Just thinking about the fact that ICP and fucking Vince Russo have fucking merged.
Vince Russo announced that he had worked the dirt sheet writers again and laughed about Uncle Dave saying that he'd gone back into the wrestling business with the NWA. When that's not it, he's back in the wrestling business with the Insane Clown Posse. This shit writes itself.
Now, like, in all honesty, like that's the funny thing to me was like, okay, Uncle Dave did talk about it on somebody else's podcast where he ended up saying, yeah, like I interviewed Russo. Russo said that he was in a promotion, and Dave Meltzer ended up saying that, you know, like talking to some of the other wrestlers and shit like that. The rumor was going around that Vince Russo was going to go to the NWA, and Vince didn't deny it, but he also didn't confirm it either. And then like a couple of days later, it is revealed that he's in JCW, and fucking, of course, you know, Dave Meltzer is just like, oh wow, what a swerve. Which I agree. It's just like, oh, wow. He swerved the fucking smart marks. He swerved the fucking dirt sheet writers. Kudos to you, Vince Russo. Like, that's not fucking secretive or fucking wonderful. Like, that's not really the best. It's like, okay, look, is that the best you can fucking do? But the thing, though, is like, okay, here's what I'm going to say about Jim Cornette. And you guys know, if you're a wrestling fan, and you know me, I love Jim Cornette. I don't care about the fact that he hates Juggalo shit, and I understand his contempt for JCW and Insane Clown Posse because of the things that he's heard about JCW. You know, being in, having wrestling shows for like Bloody Mania and stuff like that. Like they've set up the ring in an open field, like a Super Gathering. Super Bloody Mania ended up being in an open field, and the matches were like so few and far between, and it was just a terribly booked match. The matches weren't shit. I wasn't a fan of what happened that night, and at that point I looked at it and I was like, JCW's fucking dead in the water. Like, there's so few and far between shows of JCW that it's impossible to fucking keep up, especially since not only are the dirt sheets not talking about JCW, but ICP themselves aren't talking about JCW except for Bloody Mania coming up and who they're going to book. Now that Jay has gotten a little bit more attention into JCW, it's now a lot easier to figure out what's going on in the promotion. And I feel like I still like Jim Cornette, but I feel like that Jim Cornette is misconstruing what they're trying to do with JCW. And it's hard for anybody to get corny to start liking you again It really is, especially since he already has contempt for us, for the clowns, for JCW, and most of all Vince Russo. Now, I feel like that with Vince Russo being in the mix, I hope that this is just a short-term thing just to get the ball rolling, and hopefully that's what Jay is planning on doing. Jay knows Vince Russo's past. If he is as big a fucking fan of the sport, then he knows what to expect out of fucking Russo.
And not only is he back in business with it, but he's saying in capital letters on Twitter, from one thing that I saw somebody tweeted, that he is an investor. I mean, can you say it like he does? Investor.
Investor. How would he do it? Investor. I don't know how he would do it. Invest. I guess
Investor
invest would be the 2 words.
Investor, that's where you put the pronunciation. But nevertheless, the drive over the E. He's an investor in the Insane Clown Posse's wrestle, which they used to actually call champion shit wrestling.
Yes.
That was
and it was basically a parody. In a sense, like that was kind of supposed to be like a parody thing because it's the Insane Clown Posse. They're fucking clowns. It's kind of funny to change it from ship to shit. You kind of know what to expect. But they changed it to championship wrestling because they wanted to take it a little bit more seriously.
It's one of the names they used at one point when they get their friendly clowns together and have the gathering of the gigolos. And it
shows how much he cares.
Champion shit wrestling has evolved into, what is it? Lunatic wrestling, or it's...
Oh, what was the name of it?
Insanity?
It was something in the background. It was like
illiteracy?
I mean, that's close.
Well, nevertheless. So now let's examine this. They've gotten some publicity because again, this stuff writes itself, and it's just the preposterousness of it.
See, that's one thing that a lot of people really don't know about Jim Cornette is he does not like those comedy wrestling events and shit. Like, like in Japan, there's a lot of fucking comedy wrestling. And like, dude, fucking Kenny Omega wrestled a blow-up doll. And in Corny's mind, that's kind of like the equivalent of wrestling the Invisible Man to expose the business back in the day.
But then he goes a step further. Oh, Mr. Russo. And reveals that, bro, I've already written 9 hours of television.
Wonderful.
9 hours of television. And right off the bat, bro, guess what we're going to do? Have you heard his 3 ideas for the revolutionary, groundbreaking new television show he's going to write that ain't on television?
No, I haven't. Other than the clip that went around of him coming out, I've not seen like ideas or anything. No.
Oh yes, well there's the clip going around. Is his friend? Remember Vito? We talked about him a while back when he called me and pestered me on my private number at home in Connecticut in 1996 trying to get booked.
Like, one thing about Vince Russo is that he always seems to keep the same fucking Guido Mamaluke motherfuckers around. Vito is one of them, and Disco Inferno is the other. I ended up telling my boy Carlos about that, and he yelled at me and told me not to fucking say unkind things about Disco Inferno. And I'm like, bro, he had a fucking gimmick one time where he was trying to figure out a finishing move, and he was trying to do the reverse figure 4 as a finishing move, and he couldn't figure it out, So he whipped out an instruction manual on how to do the reverse figure 4, and he still couldn't figure it out. It wasn't until later he decided to use the Stone Cold Stunner and called it the Chart Buster as his finishing move. And then the thing with him being in the Filthy Animals, and he changed his name up to Disco, spelled similar to Cisco. You know, that thong, like that dude. Changed the S to a D, and now he's Disco. I'm not a huge fan of Glenn Gilberti. Can you believe that? Sorry, but mid-card life is mid-card life. And the former television champion, but I will give respect where respect is due. He does have respect for the business and for the legacy of it.
And he was the guy that, when we read the thing that Russo wrote in the Fan Bulletin in '92, he's trying to get him booked. This is 3 years later. And there's Vito in the ring throwing these fake fucking looking punches on some guy.
Stephen Flo.
In this room in front of people who are kind of like, what the fuck? We don't get it. There's 200 of them or whatever.
Yeah, about. See, like, that's another thing that I need to bring up, but I'll let Corny talk some more.
And out comes Russo looking like Father Christmas. What the fuck? Or Grizzly Adams, Dan Haggerty. Is that what he got from the Colorado experience? Is he looks like the Wolf Man?
Right.
I don't mean Lon Chaney. I mean Jack.
Lon Chaney Jr.
Can you, but still, can you, is he going through a Wolfman Jack phase?
No, he had an audience.
Nevertheless.
Coast to coast, nationwide, he had an audience.
Russo comes out as it screams, "No, Vito, get off him. I told you we're not going to do it this way." And then it goes, that's the clip being circulated that how he revealed him. And when he walks out.
Now, how funny is that Jim Cornette is talking about that clip beat by beat. But he claims that he doesn't pay attention to Russo whatsoever. I smell horse shit on this one. I smell outlaw mud show bullshit on this one, Corny.
The room is dead silent.
Which is true. Yeah, like, that's the funny thing, because, like, think about it, like, what early Gen Zer in their 20s is going to fucking see Vince Russo and be like, hey, it's Shitstain. Isn't that the guy that Corny wants to murder? Like, they're not going to fucking know. So it's like you have this all of a sudden investor that comes out. Like, think about it from their perspective. They know nothing about Vince Russo. They know nothing about his success in the Attitude Era and his creating the demise of WCW because they weren't even born yet. Or they were like 3 at the time. You know? Or the shit that Shitstain did behind the scenes at TNA, fucking blowing Dixie Carter in order to get a top spot as a writer and fucking over Jim Cornette. You know? And like I said, I feel like I had some good points in making when I said that shit on my video.
And at first I thought that they just really don't care that he's back, right? And then I realized nobody even recognized who the fuck it was.
Right, I agree. And
then somebody in the back of the room starts to try to get off after about 20 seconds. Holy shit going. And that's how long it lasted. 3 holy shits.
Yeah, a guy about my age, probably.
And it was dead quiet again.
Yep.
But the ideas, Bright, you have not heard the ideas. Okay.
Here's his thoughts on the ideas.
Number 1, he said, bro, right off the bat, we're going to be doing this in the first 9 hours of the TV. Somebody's going to get concussed.
Stephen Flo.
And then we're going to put them in the concussion protocol.
What does that mean? I don't understand. Wait,
Which, by the way, Stephen Flo was the one who ended up having the concussion, and Big Vito was the one beating the shit out of him. I just watched the most recent episode aired of JCW on YouTube, and Stephen Flo's in the fucking battle royal. So it's like, okay, where does this concussion come in? What's the longevity of the storyline, and what's the payoff? These are things that I'm curious about because Vince Russo is not known for having those things. He's good at making ideas, right? But to sell those ideas, the longevity of the storyline and the sell and payoff at the end of the fucking storyline, he just doesn't know where to go with that. So it's like, okay, where I seen Stephen Flo in this last episode, have they released the episode where they announced the arrival of fucking Vince Russo on Psychopathic Records YouTube channel? I'm going to have to fucking play catch up on this one. Because that was the clip. Right? In all fairness, Vince Russo was one of the best wrestling heels of all time. My God, is he a natural heel. Well, see, the thing about that is he's not playing a fucking role. He's just a fucking egotistical asshole. And it's all because of the success of what happened with him being in the Attitude Era. But during the Ruthless Aggression Era, they actually proved that they could write that kind of storyline writing without him. So, in a sense, it's like whatever he's doing is really nothing special. I think he's good at taking a already floundering company and be able to turn it in on its ear. But, of course, you have to have fucking filters for Vince Russo's booking. And I think Jay, being of sound mind and body in the wrestling business, I think he knows that.
in kayfabe, someone's gonna get concussed and put in the concussion protocol. What the concussion protocol is like a test you take.
Yeah, well, it not only the test you take, but the time. Apparently, they're gonna. This brilliant idea is to. Somebody's going to get a working concussion, and then somebody's going to tell them they can't wrestle, and they got to have. We're going to see them have the brain scan, and we're going to see them do rehab or wait the time out or whatever, and talk to their doctor.
Now, I'm wondering how they're going to do that because I don't think JCW really has the level of funding for that kind of storyline. So it's kind of just like my doctor result came back. I have a concussion. I'm not cleared to wrestle. Kind of shit, you know?
Which is a great 30 seconds or a minute update on a top star on a weekly basis.
The Stephen Flow's nice mid-card, I think, if anything.
3-4 minute package on, leading to someone's return, but this is not revolutionary, groundbreaking goddamn television, especially for the Insane Clown Posse. He just described, okay, we're going to do a fucking vignette.
Yeah, that's what Russo's good at.
The second
he's good at writing the vignettes and the story, like the cruxus of the story, but it's going to be somebody else that's booking the shit, which is stupid even if Vince Russo is considered the head writer of JCW, because and by the way, I guess I gotta ask, how long until Ed Ferrara shows up? Because he's always on the coattails of Vince Russo. Oh, yes, Mr. Russo. Here's your papers, sir. I'm just saying, it's remarkable that Russo, 25 years later, is hated more than the heels than they throw up on TV. For real. Well, I mean, Vince Russo has actual nuclear heat. It's not even backstage, it's not kayfabe, it's legit. And I think Russo knows that. No matter how many bros and not taking accountability while trying to make it sound like he's taking accountability for the fuck-ups that he's done. Because, Vince Russo does have a tendency to when something that he writes fails, it's everybody else's fault but his own. Like, he has a tendency to have that carry over. And nobody cares. Nobody believes that, except for maybe a couple of fucking smart marks, which, by the way, a sample of that is quite a few fucking smart marks coming into that video. Here, I'm just going to open up my, let's see, the video that I made about Vinny Rue joining JCW. Yeah, there's quite a few fucking comments, which I find very fucking funny. Okay, so let's zoom in on some of this. All right, so let me see. This one guy apparently has like a huge fucking hate boner for me right now. This Will Bontrager 6209. So, like, in my fucking shit, like, these are the type of comments that I'm getting. Here, I'll try to see if I can zoom in enough so that way you can actually see some of this fuck shit that some of these people are writing. Okay, so yeah, it's not really the best.
Okay, you're trying to attack me, which is...
Nope, not that one. Not that one. Okay, there we go. We'll just use this one for the sake of it. So yeah. Yeah, so like Juggalo Freak ICP said, so you guys are going to lunacy from here on out. Can we start throwing shit at Vinny Rue until he's fired? I said, as tempting as it would be, I would advise not to throw shit into the ring. Don't throw shit. I definitely encourage nobody to fucking throw shit in the ring. He said, at the ring. Never at the ring, unless Russo does some real stupid shit or says something real stupid. Just pelt tomatoes at him while he's on stage. Now, this fucking guy, this Will Bontrager dude, let's see. Work, we'll see, Corn Cob, and feigning you and your corn crony don't know nothing about JCW is disingenuous and manipulative to your brain scrubbed audience. Like, bro, do you not realize that I'm a fucking juggalo and I have followed JCW for a while? I follow wrestling, dude. I'm a wrestling fan. Let's see, maybe an unopened Fago 2-liter as well. Okay, so this guy. The irony is Cornette did more corny gimmicks than Russo. Do you remember the late 80s gimmicks? Yet his followers never bring them up somehow. Let's see, the Wrestler in the Box gimmicks, mullets, and of course Midnight Express versus Rock and Roll Express for the millionth time. I bet Corny is crying himself to sleep because Ricky Morton had the brains to do something fresh and joined JCW. It's funny as hell to me that these marks think just because I'm a fan of Jim Cornette means that I'm hating on JCW. No, I made that video in the concerns of what could possibly happen to JCW for hiring Vince Russo. Yes, marks only watch wrestling and isolate the casual fans with their asshole behavior and signs. They would watch a test pattern, so why would listen to them about the product? What are the Ray-Tungs in WWE now? Why did Fox drop them? I don't know. Why did Netflix pick them up? Fox dropped them, yeah, but Netflix picked them up, and SmackDown is now on USA. So, going from national television to cable, you know, like, where's the fucking downside? Okay, believe Ted Turner instead of many eyewitnesses that attested they wanted out of the wrestling business. And I said, are you talking about prior to or after the merger with AOL Time Warner? He said, in the writing room and production, many insiders, Disco, Conan, Russo, Jericho, Nash, I think a few others, even Bischoff, all said Time Warner considered wrestling lowbrow and wanted out. You don't have to look far to find that info out. Motherfucker, you dumb son of a bitch. I talked about the fact that Ted Turner kept WCW on because he's a fan. Like, think about the fact that he also played, like, other Atlanta shows, like, like other Atlanta sports, like Braves games. Braves games were exclusively on TBS because billionaire Ted owned that organization. The same thing with WCW. He entered the wrestling business, and it didn't matter how much money was being thrown into it. He kept it on, even if it was red ink. AOL ended up fucking AOL Time Warner merged with Turner Products, and that's what caused it to happen. Like, listen to what you just said. Time Warner considered wrestling lowbrow and wanted out. But that was after the merger. They already said before the merger, during the merger, that they wanted to get rid of it. It was lowbrow, and it was losing them money. You don't have to look far to find it. Turner stayed in to try to beat Vince, not really a wrestling fan. Russo increased ratings slightly after the WCW drop-off, not decreased them. No, they lost fucking people. They tried to get motherfuckers like that one DJ, whatever the fuck, and Ricky Rackman, and booked ICP and the Misfits in order to try to fucking gain some sort of interest from outside sources. And nothing did. Watch the Monday Night Wars. You could see the fucking ratings drop. After 93 straight weeks of WCW beating WWE on a slow growth for WWE, eventually those ratings just fucking plummeted. And they were losing money. They were wasting money. Ted Turner didn't care. He was a fan of the sport. That's why he bought Georgia Championship Wrestling in Mid-Atlantic. And bought Jim Crockett Promotions. Not only was he a fan of the shit, because he had GCW on there. So for modern Russo haters, they hate him and say TV ratings no longer matter when he shits on today's awful product. And old curmudgeons like yourself must claim ratings never mattered, I guess, because he increased them in all three companies. No, he didn't. And if it was short fucking term. But if ratings never mattered, that lets Corncob off the hook because they were woeful when he was there. Wow, who would think a company would fold who let Stone Cold Foley... Like, what the fuck is this dude on? Then spend money on part-timers and give heavy contracts to Hogan and others and stretch out the only story they had too long, the NWO. Who could... Like... Why are you yelling at me about this shit when I fucking agree with that shit? But let's blame writer Russo and Ed Ferrara for it all in the 5 months they were there. Motherfucker, did you even watch that shit? They were on from 99 until 2001. They were on for a year. They stunk up the shit with that fucking... with that bullshit. Like, think about the bullshit that Russo wrote. Okay? He wrote himself in as the powers that be. Then he revealed himself as the head writer and a character for that. He rebooted the shit. And then he gave then in the reboot, he fucking booked David Arquette to become the world heavyweight champion. Because he didn't care. He didn't care about the product. All he cared about was writing. And then on top of that, like, he booked himself to become the fucking champion. And the product stunk so bad that they fired him. And so they had no head writer, and everybody kind of had to work for themselves. And then they brought him back for the last 5 months of the show existing. And by that time, the merger fucking came in, and the booking was so fucking bad, and the money was so fucking red, that's what caused AOL Time Warner to cancel. Because once they fucking had that merger with TBS and TNT and all the Ted Turner products, Ted Turner was no longer a relevant factor, and they fucking threw him in, they threw him in the background. There was nothing that Ted Turner could do at that point. That's why they fucking removed wrestling off of it, because yeah, it was lowbrow. That wrestling promotion turned that fucking lowbrow. And it was basically because I get Russo trying to fucking, force. He basically tried to force a lot of the wrestlers that like Hogan and the Total Package, Nash, Hall, all of these heads that had high figure contracts, he was trying to fucking book it to piss them off to a point where they would walk out and leave. And thus make it so their contracts expired, so that way they could save money. But spending so much money that he fucking did, and they weren't budging. So he basically tried to get a lot of the younger cats at the time to hate on the fucking, like the whole New Blood and Millionaires Club thing. Yeah, that was a half a work. Half of it was real. Like, this dude is such a fucking... I wouldn't even call him a stan. Like, I wouldn't even call him a fucking mark. I think he's a fucking stan for Vince Russo. Like, this dude looks like he really just read the fucking dirt sheets on what happened with WCW and doesn't know anything beyond that. Like, I watched this shit. Fucking WCW was trash when Vince Russo fucking showed up. And it's not just because of shit that I heard from Jim Cornette. It was legitimate fuck trash. Now with that fucking mark aside, it's not because I'm a fan of Vince Russo. Not really. That basically creates concern, in my view, for what's going on with the product. It's because I'm a fan of professional wrestling, and I've been watching it since I was 3 years old. I grew up watching Hulkamania, the New Generation, the Attitude Era, the fucking Ruthless Aggression Era, the PG Era, and the other eras that came about, the modern era, the like this fuck, I watch a little bit here and there of the shit that's going on now. And it's like, okay, look, I understand wrestling changes with the times. I get that. However, it's like, you got to understand the history of the shit. And with Vince Russo not understanding why a guy would come out of the fucking box and trying to fucking write the shit, which, by the way, you can go back to that episode when Cactus Jack and fucking Terry Funk were feuding with the New Age Outlaws when they introduced Terry Funk as Chainsaw Charlie as the guy in the box. That actually still did get over. Some of the old tricks are still some of the best tricks. So a guy in the fucking box is basically the same thing with what they did with Madman Pondo and Mickey Knuckles. Okay, back to corny.
Idea I think is better, Brian, because they're going to drug test.
Yep.
That's a good start.
on television. No, they're gonna. It's gonna be part of the deal. They're gonna drug test, and they're gonna have the guy that does the drug test stand there and watch the guys piss and say, because we want to make sure you ain't using any fake piss.
Let me stop you for a minute, because these ideas are not really traditional wrestling TV ideas. So I'm a little confused by the whole thing. It's like WWE LFG meets a brick wall. I'm not sure exactly.
See, like, and Brian, like, I respect Corny, I respect Brian Last, but they don't understand the product of JCW. The reason why these things are going to fucking work is because there is no fucking concussion protocol in JCW. There's no drug testing in JCW. And we legitimately have a character who goes by the name Cocaine, whose gimmick is that he is a Kane clone that is obsessed with doing cocaine. If anything, that's like getting the like pulling the fucking 8-ball out of his fucking pocket, doing cocaine in the ring, and then all of a sudden he no sells and has fucking super strength for a short period of time to be able to do the coke slam on just about anybody. And they're probably and I say that if they're smart, what they're going to do is they're going to have this fucking drug testing thing, and it's going to be cocaine, right? Because this is how I would book it. They've got Stephen Flo with the concussion, and then Big Vito comes in, beats the shit out of him, right? So now they're going to have this fucking protocol, this concussion protocol, which removes Stephen Flo away from programming. And Stephen Flo is a Juggalo favorite on the program. Cocaine has to do a drug test, and he can't use fake piss, so they're going to watch him pee in a cup, and he's going to fail the drug test, and that makes it so Cocaine, another Juggalo favorite, is not cleared to compete because he's on fucking cocaine. See where this is going? Vince Russo is writing himself in to be the antagonistic protagonist, right? Another fucking work shoot. So, in the interest of the product of JCW, he is putting down these stipulations in order to promote a better product, especially after the Chris Benoit situation. There has been more testing on concussions, drug testing, and the like, right? Like so like he's doing all of these things where it's like, okay, as the investor, he does not approve of people on drugs in the promotion. He does not approve of people being forced to work while having a concussion. So he's taking away all of the Juggalo favorites, but he's also bringing in people like Big Vito and Ed Ferrara and fucking Disco Inferno and all these other people that he surrounds himself with that kiss his ass and trying to improve on the product. So if it was me booking this shit, I would say he's doing it like this. He's trying to be he's trying not to be the bad guy. He's trying to be the good guy, which is him being the bad guy in JCW, because he's taking away all the things that we like about the product. And eventually it'll culminate to where he's going to have to be unceremoniously fired on the show by Jay. And then all the fucking people, and then another thing too is like, okay, we got Vampiro, who is bringing back fucking Pondo and Mickey Knuckles. So I believe that that's part of the storyline as well, which I kind of figured that that was going to happen anyways. It was like they have to bring those two back and basically fucking be pissed off at the fact that they were unceremoniously fired. And I hadn't even been watching JCW all that much lately, but I kind of figured that that was going to be inserted into the storyline. And they're probably going to be more in favor of Vince Russo because Vampiro has history with Vince Russo in WCW.
Even if these ideas were great, and if I understood them, if you're a booker, why would you be announcing what you're going to do like this before anything has happened?
Because it's Vince fucking Russo. He's not a booker, he's a writer.
Well, because he, hold on, I will psychoanalyze him in a minute, but he wants this. This is what he's leading with. This is the shit he thinks will get people interested in seeing his vision of this product. He thinks that people want to tune in to watch guys standing there with their pants around their ankles with another guy watching them piss in a fucking bottle on a weekly basis.
Well, here's the thing, too, about that. Like, I mean, without the cocaine is basically a fucking jobber if he's even still cleared to wrestle. Like, could you imagine cocaine not on cocaine?
Who's going to
Once again, what is this? Is it a weekly segment? And now let's go back to the pisser.
Let's find out what's happening this week with the Pecker Checker.
Yeah. How is that more? Once you've established that that's what you're doing, and you've even if you've seen it one time or you've just been alluded to, how does that take up any ongoing television time? And the only way you can bring it into the storylines is if people start flunking the fucking tests.
Yeah.
And then
that's the gimmick.
Well, then how do you flunk a test and be in an angle at the same time? If you flunk the test, don't you have to go the fuck away?
That's the point. Like that's literally the point that I believe is being made with this fucking storyline writing. It all follows up to the fact that, look, we all know how Vince Russo is. Okay, I talked about it on my fucking video, and I'm talking about it here on this podcast. Vince Russo is the type of person that will weasel his way into becoming a head writer. He's already fucking done that IRL, right? Then he inserts himself as a character on the show. He's already done that. He mixes fucking real life shit with work shit, so it's like work, shoot, work shit. Like it's, like if you know how his fucking booking works, then it's understandable what he's trying to do. And it's like, okay, you have these three little stories. Those are the splinters of what the real fucking story is. And the real fucking story is that Vince Russo is basically doing the same thing on the show that he has done in real life. Vince Russo knows that he's one of the most hated motherfuckers in the wrestling world. He knows that. So why not take advantage of that and put it into a storyline? That's what wrestling is done best. That's when wrestling is done best, is when you take real shit and you put it into a storyline. Prime example, when Edge and Lita were fucking on Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy ended up fucking getting fired over it, but the popularity of Matt Hardy brought it back. They fucking turned it into a storyline where Matt and Edge were feuding. Off of, all because of some real life shit. That's a prime example. And that seems to be what Vince Russo is doing. I feel like that the main storyline is him trying to overextend his reach in JCW by changing JCW and everything that makes JCW what it is. That's what I think the main storyline is. So you'll have Cocaine taking a fucking piss test and failing, which takes him off of TV. You got Stephen Flo, who's got a concussion, and he's not cleared to wrestle, which takes him off of fucking TV. And then you start inserting these other guys that fucking Vince Russo seems to like coming into JCW and trying to make JCW a Vince Russo vision. That's the fucking main story. You've already got Big Vito, who claims that he's coming in to ensure that Vince Russo's vision of JCW comes to fruition. Disco Inferno and Ed Ferrara are not far behind, and I don't know who else is going to come in that could have the backs of Vince Russo. But that's where I'm seeing, and that right there, I think, as a storyline, is the only hope that Vince Russo has of having that be a fucking storyline that can be positive and successful for JCW and what JCW represents and how we as JCW fans and wrestling fans are going to enjoy. Take some fucking real life meta shit and put it in JCW. In a sense, that's kind of something that Vince Russo's good at. Am I wrong? Does my fucking speculation, does my theory fucking make sense? Let me know. So it might not make sense to Corny and Last, but it definitely makes sense to me. All right, so we got one last thing, I think. Maybe a couple other things that two things that I wanted to fucking talk about. Let's see, we got to go over to this one right here, and I think this is kind of funny. We're gonna go into the realm of politics, and it's only short term. We've only got two fucking things, right? First off, we've got Halloween. Okay? Now, you guys know about this fucking meme, right? Fat JD Vance. I don't know why, but it seems like this pops up, and this is a very terrible looking picture, but it's the best picture that I could find. But apparently somebody ended up fucking making this as a meme to make fun of JD Vance. Well, since yesterday, since it was Halloween was 2 days ago, and I'm perusing on TikTok, this is what I find.
Happy Halloween, kids, and remember, say thank you.
JD Vance. JD Vance was his own fucking meme on Halloween. Motherfucker. This was fucking hilarious as hell. JD Vance decided to be fat JD Vance for fucking Halloween. And the people on the left got totally upset about the fact that JD Vance decided to be fat JD Vance for Halloween. Because it stripped the fucking meme. It stripped the power of the meme away from the left. Prime example is this fucking idiot on TikTok. The left's very own Harry Sisson.
I cannot believe what I just watched. Happy Halloween, kids. And
Yeah, hopefully that $10,000 a month from APAC is helping you out, or whatever fucking leftist PAC club you fucking earn money from. Like, seriously, anything that like when something cool happens for MAGA, this dude has to fucking force himself to pretend that it's not awesome.
remember, say thank you. Wow. I mean, what the fuck do we say at this point anymore?
Simple enough, dude. Get butthurt, because it's clear that you are incredibly fucking butthurt. Hold on a second. What else? What more do you have to say to this?
We just want healthcare.
Okay.
We just want healthcare. We want our fellow Americans to be fed.
That's fine and dandy, okay? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'd like healthcare too. So if I want healthcare, I'm gonna fucking pay for it. And if I want to be fed, I'm gonna pay for it.
That's all. We're not asking for a lot. But no.
No, you are. You're also asking for 100. You're asking for 1.5 trillion dollars to go into fucking food and health care for fucking illegal immigrants who don't belong in this country. You're also asking for fucking, I don't know, transgender surgeries in Rwanda or whatever the fuck. Like, that's the reason why the shit is shut down, and that's why people aren't being fed right now.
No, the president of the United States is building a ballroom.
With his own fucking money, we've established this. It has nothing to do with government money. It's his own money and a couple of investors from his billionaire friends. Which is still, by the way, a lot less money than fucking Obama's pet project on the White House, building a fucking basketball court for 300 and I think it was like, what, $315 million for that motherfucker? And the ballroom is like $285 million. So, not a big deal.
JD Vance is doing whatever the fuck that was.
That was him stripping the power of that meme away from you and your ilk. Because you got to remember something. JD Vance is a millennial. Okay? JD Vance is the type of motherfucker that thrives on self-deprecating humor. Something that your fucking generation doesn't seem to understand. Like, you take everything at fucking face value. You stupid asshole. Like, this is why I want to punch this kid in the fucking face. And he is of age, so I can actually punch him in the fucking face.
No, our leaders can't do that. Congress
Why
just
not?
got called out of session, sent home for another week.
Okay?
They haven't voted in weeks, months, on anything.
That's Congress. Congress has nothing to do with what the shooting gun here, which is actually talking about the government shutdown. Like, Congress really don't have anything to do with that.
I'm just so sick of them.
Then stop talking about them and figure out something else to do with your life. But of course, if you go on TikTok and you fucking doom scroll through Harry Sisson's fucking TikTok videos, it's Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. We get it, dude. You want Donald Trump to fuck you. I get it. But you don't have to keep talking to him about him. Just send him fucking snail mail love letters like everybody else.
I'm so sick of them. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of them.
Why?
They do nothing except that all day.
Oh, that's a fucking stretch, bro. Did you forget about, fucking Donald Trump attempting to achieve peace in the Middle East? Yeah. The part renovated isn't even a historic part of the White House. FDR had it built for a pool on taxpayers' dimes. Yeah. And then there was the basketball court that was built on the taxpayer's dime. There was also the fucking bowling alley that was built on a taxpayer's dime. There was also that time that I think wasn't it Harry Truman that created the Oval Office? He was the one who added the Oval Office to the White House. And then there was also Teddy Roosevelt completely gutting the first fucking floor. And hell, by the way, and I pointed this out to Batgirl Jamie, that's not even the original White House. Okay? The original White House was burned down to the ground in 1814. And it wasn't always in Washington, D.C. It was in Virginia at some point in time. Washington, D.C. was literally created for the rebuilding of the White House that we currently see right now. Now, here's the thing about the government shutdown. Okay, it's still going down, and as of yesterday, anybody who's on fucking welfare, food stamps, and WIC and shit like that, they didn't get paid. Now, what's funny to me is like this is now like the 13th time. I was only able to see the 13th time that the votes ended up going down. And this right here is the fucking results. So here we have the no votes, which is 45 fucking people. Yes votes, 54. And this one guy did not vote. So what are they voting on? They are voting on the clean bill, right? Which is the fucking... Like, the clean bill is basically what is the budget for the country. Notice who's all voting no. Almost every single fucking Democrat is voting no because a lot of stuff that was implemented into the CR was like the $1.5 trillion that's going to go into healthcare and food benefits for illegal immigrants in this country. And then there was also like a couple other $1 billion shots that were like for things outside of this country that are completely fucking unnecessary. The rest of the budget that these people are voting on goes into stuff for the country. Every Republican except for this guy and this guy voted yes on the current standing bill. And then you also have Fetterman, and I don't know who this chick is right here at the top, that are on the Democratic side that are voting yes on the way that the current clean bill is right now. These people, all right, 45. Let's see. We have 45 Democrats total. We have 2 independents. And we have 56. I don't know, 53 Republican voters altogether. So basically, without having a 3/5 vote of approval for the clean bill, for the CR, the government is continuing to be shut down. And we're now in the 30s of how many days the government has been shut down. November 1st was the deadline for the shutdown to end, and everybody would have gotten fucking food stamps, right? But now nobody's getting them. And probably, I don't know if at any time that the government gets turned back on, whether or not people then are going to get their fucking food stamps, or if they have to reapply. I don't know what the deal is with that. And I understand that there are going to be some certain people, like the disabled, that need those benefits because they can't seem to fucking, like the sick and the disabled, like some people can't. And I talked about this last week. I understand that there are some people who need this shit, but there is a lot of fucking people out there who basically turn this into a fucking career. Okay? Those are the people that I feel like are having the biggest fucking issue with not getting their fucking food stamps. And people have threatened that if they can't buy the food stamps, food with food stamps, then they're just going to steal shit. But if they can steal their food, then who's to say what else that they can fucking steal? And what's stupid is that even before the beginning of the month of November, people were already stealing food. This is what happens when you become reliant completely and solely on the fucking government's dime. And I've seen videos of people who have threatened and actually did and bragged about the fact that they stole from their local stores. They even showed with their whole ass face in public view of the things that they fucking stole from the store. A lot of meat. And some other fucking things. There have been people who have been threatening to not rob the stores, but to rob the people who have already purchased their fucking groceries. And I've also seen people that have responded to that by saying, go ahead and try, I carry everywhere I go. So fuck around and find out. Now here's the thing. We as MAGA or Republicans have a majority of the Senate. We have 53 motherfucking people in the Senate. You have 45 Democrats and 2 independents. So on TV, everybody's fucking saying that these motherfuckers that are voting yes are, it's MAGA's fault. It's the Republicans' fault. Now it's Trump's fault that nobody got their fucking food stamps. How is it Trump's fault? Because the way that the system works is Congress has to approve something. Congress has to approve a bill. Then it goes to the Senate. Then the Senate has to approve a bill. And then it goes to the president. And then the president has to approve the bill, which makes the bill go into law. That's how it fucking works. It hasn't even gotten to Trump yet. So how is it Trump's responsibility right now if it can't even get through fucking Senate on a fucking bipartisan 60% vote? They need 60 fucking people in order to approve this fucking bill. Almost every fucking Republican is down for this. The way that it is right now. And almost every Republican is against this, short of these two. Mr. Hoodie Fetterman is one of those people that votes yes. And while he's being ostracized for the fact that he's voting yes on this, his response to that is, look, it's people over party in this situation. Every single one of these motherfuckers is in favor of the party. And most of this is being led by Chuck fucking Schumer. Like, him and Hakeem Jeffries are the two talking heads that are convincing everybody that Trump and MAGA and the Republicans are at fault for the fucking shutdown because they will not adhere to the demands. And it's fucking Catherine Clark that ended up saying the quiet part out loud. She literally fucking said that she and the other Democrats understand that people are going to be hurting. People are going to go hungry. But it's the only leverage they have in order to win their side of the argument. So to you people out there who have government assistance like SNAP or WIC or Section 8 housing or whatever the fuck that is not being funded at this moment, understand that it's the left, the ones with the blue shirts, that are using you as pawns for the feelings brigade to try to get people on the right to fucking vote no on this shit. They need 15 votes. We only need 5 or 6 to vote yes on what it is that's going on right now. And a vast majority of the Republicans, they're not changing their votes. Half of them fucking were just like, we're voting yes on this. Vote yes on it every fucking time. We're going on vacation for 6 fucking weeks. So it's like, okay, at the end of that day, it's like, okay, look, this is the yes on all the shit that should come to that should be for the country, and fuck you for the rest of the shit. So I don't want to hear a goddamn thing about people trying to fucking blame Trump for this when it hasn't even gotten to him yet. I could understand if it was like the yes or no vote, and then it goes to Trump, and he votes opposite and vetoes the bill. right? I could understand people being upset about, let's say it passes, and regardless and he said, like, if it passes and it comes to my desk, I'm voting yes on it. So that way we can open up the fucking government. It's this fucking shutdown that's caused food stamps to fucking get shut off because that is part of the fucking policy. The very same policy that all these motherfuckers voted yes on before, when they had a super majority or even a standard majority and were able to fucking vote yes on it and just let it fucking pass no matter what was added. Like, that's the important thing that you have to understand. Like, if you could, actually, I will fucking move it to this. If you can, zoom in on this and notice the faces of everybody who votes no. These are the motherfuckers that really do not care about you. All they care about is trying to get a leg up on Donald Trump, and that's it. That has been their fucking goal since 2017 when Donald Trump first came into fucking office. As a matter of fact, it was probably 2016 when he started running for his first term. No matter what, these people fucking care about, just like anybody else on the left who is an absolute MAGA hatred-filled motherfucker. All they care about is getting a W against Trump, which is near impossible at this point for them, because their plight literally looks like a scheme at this point. They're saying the quiet parts out loud. They're talking all that fucking mad shit. They haven't learned at all. They have not learned one fucking thing in the last 10 years. That it's just best to not try to fucking make Donald Trump out to be a fucking villain. And that's all they've been doing. It's like, I swear to God, they fucking wake up from dead sleep going, Trump. And I still say this now, just like I've said over the last year or so, maybe even longer. We got 3 years left, right? What are they going to fucking do, and how are they going to fucking put the blame on anybody else when Trump is no longer in office and he can't be fucking president again? What are they going to do when they don't have Trump to blame for anything? Because that's all their fucking goal is. Like, literally. Their entire fucking party has revolved around hate Trump. And yet they're fucking baffled. Like, it just can't seem to work around their heads. Jim Cornette included. They just can't seem to fucking grasp and understand what it is exactly about Trump that people like so much. Well, part of it is the fact that people are waking up and they're realizing that all you've been doing is just talking nonstop shit about Trump and MAGA and the supporters on the Republican side, trying to claim this, that, and the other about what they're about. And none of it's fucking true. And things have been fucking revealed that the things that people have lied about have been fucking falsified. That's what people are fucking starting to realize. And then you also have Charlie Kirk's assassination. And that woke up some other fucking people saying, I'm never voting fucking Democrat again because of shit like that. The way people are being treated by followers of the fucking left, and notice I'm just saying left, not even the far left, just the left in general. The way people are being fucking treated by people on the left has been astronomically exhausting. The same thing with the fucking Antifa shit in Portland. The fact that you've got people like Zoran Mamdani with his foot in the door of being mayor of New York City when he's very pro-socialist. The shit that fucking happened recently on Halloween in Dearborn, Michigan. Kash Patel found out about that shit. Like apparently there was like a terrorist organization that was gonna do something on Halloween, and Kash Patel caught wind of that, and fucking snuffed that flame out real fucking quick. At first I thought it was gonna be a light my fire, just like any other All Hallows, Devil's Night here in Michigan. But apparently it was a terrorist attack attempt that was stopped by Kash Patel and the FBI. And then you got the stuff that goes on in Southside Chicago. Then you got the stuff that's happening with Gavin Newsom in general and all of California. And the way shit's been fucked up. And it's like, nobody wants that shit. Everybody sees what's going on. Everybody can see that there is like some sort of weird pull that's fucking trying to lean the country into a socialist nation. And nobody wants that. Probably because we've all seen or read Animal Farm. We've all seen and we've all watched the movie They Live. Put the fucking glasses on. And that's basically it. People are putting on the fucking glasses. They're seeing what's really going on between the lines. And personally, I will have to say this. I like John Fetterman. Isn't that his name? I know his last name's Fetterman. I like Fetterman. Even though he's a fucking Democrat, I like the guy. Not just because of the fucking clothing that he wears, but I love the fact that he may not agree on a lot of things involving Donald Trump, but he understands what's right is right and what's right is the people before politics. That's why he's voting on him. And then what happens is the rest of these motherfuckers ended up ousting him, just like any other time that somebody in the modern liberal party decides to think for themselves, they fucking shun him. Right? So he's not part of the cool kids table anymore. On the left. So he's not able to fucking, powwow with fucking Elizabeth Warren. He's not able to yuck it up with fucking Bernie Sanders or fucking Chuck Schumer, wherever the fuck he is in this list. It's like all of these fucking people on the left are voting no on feeding their constituents that need cash assistance. And in some way, I'm basically kind of applauding it because it takes that money away from people who are able-bodied and are able to fucking work. If you put that much energy that you put into angrily screaming at your phone over not getting your food stamps into going out and getting a job, I guarantee you will be able to make fucking money. And guess what? You get to claim all your fucking kids on your taxes. So if you got 10 kids and 15 baby daddies, I don't know how that math fucking works, but somehow it fucking does. You'll be able to get a huge stipend on taxes when tax season comes. Assuming taxes will fucking be a thing if the government is not shut down by then. But I'm just basically looking at it like this. It's like, okay, instead, when I got a divorce, I had no job. I had bills sky high. I didn't bitch about it. I said, I basically dusted myself off, picked myself up by the bootstraps like you motherfuckers try to tell us to do. And I fucking went out and I worked. And even though it's been a struggle, I've been figuring shit out. And I'm a lazy fuckhead with a YouTube channel that likes to play video games all the time. So if I can figure it out, you sure as fuck can figure it out. I'm just saying. However, at the same time, don't bitch about the fact that we have more votes voting yes on the clean CR than no's. And every single one of these people voting no has voted no 13 times in the last 31 days. I agree with you on that one, Vampire Clown. The left has become a mix of the movie Idiocracy and Kyle's mom from South Park. Instead of blame Canada, they are singing blame Trump. Yeah, they're trying to get the attention on Trump so that way you can be distracted from the fact that they're fucking you out of your stipend, out of your fucking, your free SNAP money. And here's the thing, though. I've also, and this is one thing, too, that I've seen that really gives me the mentality that I have. There are literally fucking people who have acquired SNAP benefits for a long period of fucking time, and they're pissed at me and you and anybody else who goes out and works for a living. And they literally said that it is our responsibility to fucking feed their kids. I'm sorry, I don't know your fucking kids. So with that attitude, fuck you and your kids. It is your responsibility to take care of your fucking children. So if you're not able to get the free benefits, then you need to figure out a way on how to get money to feed your fucking kids. It's not really my responsibility. See, I've lived that life of getting free shit like that. Getting fucking food stamps every month. I was married with 5 kids. Neither one of us had a job. We were getting money from her GI Bill, $1,000 a month. That was enough to pay the bills. And we had $750 a month in food stamps, which was pretty fucking huge at the time. For me, her, and 5 kids. With that, there was literally no in my head, there was literally no reason for me to go out and get a fucking job. Because we were settled. We were fine. We had the bare minimum, and that was good enough for me at that point. It wasn't until my wife left me that I ended up deciding that I had to go out and get a fucking job. Because because the food stamps were not in my fucking name. They were in her fucking name. And believe me when I say that I hated the fact that we had the food stamps, but at the same time, free was free. That was kind of the mentality that I have. And now, looking at it, I'm able to provide for myself. I don't have to borrow money from fucking people anymore. I'm self-sufficient in my finances. I don't need help from the government. I feel like that there's a little swelling of pride when for myself when it concerns that shit. And if you're able-bodied, you can do the same thing. And you'll feel that same swelling of pride. And you'll look at food stamps differently. Because if you think about it, we're in a country that was founded on the fact that we were pissed off at the fact that we had to pay Great Britain a 2% tax on tea. And so we threw the tea into the harbor, and that started the Revolutionary War. I think that's the one. And ended up creating this independent nation of settlers that we call the United States in 1776. Yes, a little bit of a history lesson that I actually failed on when I was in high school. And this experiment that we've dealt with for 249 years. And now we're paying 27% tax on an overhiked fucking inflation rate to fund not only brokies and people who can't work for themselves because they're either disabled physically or mentally or whatever the fuck, but we're also fucking that's the thing. People who work, pay their taxes, that's what's funding food stamps. And all of these other fucking side projects and pet projects that the people in Congress and the Senate are fucking working on, which I do believe is actually a lot of dark money, and a lot of money that's not going into the very thing that they claim to be fucking working on. I'm still waiting on them to try to pass a bill on transgender reassignment surgeries in Saudi Arabia, or one of those other massively pro-Muslim countries that you know for a fact that if somebody were to come in transgender, they'd be stoned to death. Because I know that that kind of a bill is fucking coming in. Like, me personally, I work independently in a way. I work for Grubhub. I do still kind of technically work for a company of sorts, but it's no taxes taken out of my shit. It's an independent contractor job. And so I had to figure out a way on how to learn what it is that I have to learn in order to, I had to learn about how the taxes behind it work. I have to learn what money needs to be set aside for what, blah, 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 blah. And I am generally and legitimately happy about what I do for a living. And the way I look at it, it's like, okay, look, if the money that I'm paying in on taxes goes into that, amongst other things. I want it to be for this country. I don't want it to be for anybody else. We're $36 trillion in debt as a country, or $38 trillion in debt as this country. You know, our interest rate on those bonds that we've gotten money from is $1 trillion right out the gate. $1 trillion. That's just to pay the interest off. So if you think about it, the more money that's put into all of these other useless programs is money that could be put into the budget. Because when you got less fucking balance on your shit that you owe, that's less interest that you have to pay. And if it get and it literally it could get to a point where the budget is so fucking huge that they have to increase wages to make it so 100% of your fucking wages goes into just paying the interest rate or loan. Then we'll have absolute socialism. Right now, what you brokies are fucking experiencing that live off the fucking system and have no desire to fucking get out of it, this is the free trial of socialism. Because what happens when the government, who controls how much money you're able to get on food, can just easily take it away when they don't like something that you said or something that you did? Does that ever fucking cross your mind? Because, well, that's what's happening right now. The government shut down because these two parties can't seem to get into an agreement, which I think all we really need is 5 blue shirts to fucking vote yes on what's current right now. And I fucking bet you that once people who are fighting for fucking stealing meat from Kroger's or Walmart or something like that, shit's gonna fucking get out of control, then they're going to be like, oh shit, this can fucking happen. 3 more fucking people. Wait, we need 5 fucking blue shirts now. Okay, out of 53, we need 60 votes, so that's 7 people on the left that need to vote on this shit. I feel bad for some SNAP recipients, like the ones that are disabled and clearly cannot fucking work. Those people I feel bad for. I feel bad that our military is not getting funded. I feel, because I got a lot of family that is in the military, and I support the troops. And I feel bad for, that type of shit. I don't feel bad for the SNAP recipients that turned it into a career and I don't feel bad for the SNAP recipients that say that it's our responsibility to take care of their kids. Those people can go fuck themselves. The career moms that are single that fucking have 6 kids with 5 or 6 different baby daddies that are not anywhere in their children's lives, that solely rely on fucking food stamps, WIC, and fucking Section 8 housing, that have zero fucking desire to go out and make a living for themselves. I don't feel sorry for them at all. She has no issues. My ex is on her Instagram story crying about losing her snap. She claims disabled because she has autism. She has no issue at all, in my opinion. Lazy, maybe. Yeah. Like, I have ADHD, and, I heard that is plausible enough to be able to get SNAP benefits and not have to work. I chose not to go that route. I'm able-bodied. And believe me when I say this, like, my back is fucking killing me every fucking day, and I still fucking go out and I work. And I probably will until I can't walk because of how bad my back is hurting. And then I'll take some fucking Tylenol and hope that I don't get autism while it fucking works on my back pain. I do personally believe that it's a lot of laziness on a lot of people's parts, and I feel like people have become so dependent on the system, but that's also the same reason why people fucking vote blue. Because it's them that's giving the fucking free benefits and all that other shit. They claim that it's free, but like Future said in 8 Mile, free comes with a fucking dick in your booty. So if you want somebody to blame, don't blame me. Blame everybody over here on the fucking left that's voting no because they're trying to get a W over Donald Trump by manipulating the fucking news and trying to say that all of this is Trump's fault. At first it was the MAGA, then it was all the Republicans. Now it's Donald Trump. Who you got left to blame on next? Especially with fucking Catherine Clark, like I said before, saying the quiet part out loud. You motherfuckers are the only leverage that they have left. That's it. They know that you're starving. They know that you're upset because you're not getting your fucking benefits. They don't care. Because stealing shit and starting a riot is probably what their plan is. I do find it ironic that these people are the kind of people that attend No Kings protests. Now they're begging for SNAP. Hell, another thing that's ironic is that the very same people who went to these No Kings protests have been claiming that they're trying to sign up for citizenship for the UK. I'm not a Trump person, but that's mentality. But that mentality is why I don't boost being a lefty. Like, dude, honestly, the more the left speaks, the more I like Donald Trump. And when it concerns what I showed earlier with J.D. Vance fucking being fat J.D. Vance, the meme for Halloween, king of the trolls, man. Like, fucking, honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if Donald Trump decided to be a king for Halloween. Just to piss off the demis. Because the people on the left, like, dude, this is literally like them fucking around and finding out. And on top of that, they don't have a real fucking plausible primary for the next presidential election. Granted, we have 3 years left, and the best that they can come up with currently is Gavin Newsom or Bernie Sanders again or AOC. Kamala Harris is talking about fucking running for the primary again, which is a big fucking joke. It's all free and no strings attached until they come back at you telling you to give them more chun-chun. Right. And that's kind of where it's at right now. I like, you like Bernie, but he's too old. I don't like Bernie because Bernie fucking leans into the whole socialism idea. Socialist Democrat is still socialist. Socialist leads into fucking Marxism, which leads into communism, and I have a thing against communism because USSR. Thankfully, Tetris saved the nation by selling Tetris to Nintendo back in the 90s, and then they realized that, hey, capitalism is actually useful. See, I like capitalism, even if there's like super billionaires out there like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and shit. I commend them for being fucking billionaires, you know what I'm saying? The reason why is because they earned that shit. And I believe you earn your keep. That's what I'm fucking doing for a living. That's why this fucking sits well with me, that every fucking Republican is voting yes. Like, do these people not understand? The Republicans have the high ground. The Democrats are not used to that. And so all I'm seeing with all what they're doing, it just looks like a fucking hissy fit. They're upset at the fact that the Republicans have the W for the next 4 fucking years, and so this is the only shot that they fucking have. And what's going to happen with the next time that they have to vote on the clean bill? They're going to try to add a bunch of dumb shit again and then shut down the government for another month and a half next year, and then the year after that? Oh, dude, I'm very sure that deep down JD's still a fucking juggalo. Like, I feel like JD's a fucking juggalo. Because I think he's probably got a lot of respect for DIY shit. But alright, that's enough for me. I'm done rambling. I'm going to get up out of here. Thank you guys for coming in, watching, participating, having fun with me, listening to Corny and all that other stuff. I got to find me something quick to eat and go to bed. I got work in the morning and my fucking throat hurts. So I'm out this bitch, y'all. I'll see you next week. Deuces. Where's that ending?